Breakfast burritos may be the number one breakfast.
I don't know, Randy.
Oh, breakfast burritos, yeah.
I'm an omelet gal.
I am a...
It's an omelet it's an omelet in a tortilla. It's delicious.
Give me a good pancake, bacon, and eggs. Sign me up.
Okay.
Every day. Good.
Yes. Oh, the pancakes from First Watch.
Oh, they're the best.
Hey.
The chocolate chip pancakes.
Yeah.
It's 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Those are the dulcet tones of one Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. There's some teams that could use Kerry Davis on their squad right now. I saw Danny Cox yesterday. I said, "Hey, Danny." He said, "Yeah." I said, "You know, the Cardinals need you right now. He just turned 64. They need him right now."
I don't think I would provide anything for an NFL team at this moment.
One play.
Some blocking. I
DeMarco
don't
always
know.
said he had one play in him.
Randy, if the way my shoulders feel, I try to, just show my kids how to do certain things. The way my shoulders feel, just from giving them examples, and that's just walking. That ain't even running at full speed into another human being.
But one play, and then you make like $4 million for the
Sign me
rest of the season.
Make the play, what we called in Illinois, K4 has slipped to the flat. Spider 2 wide banana is what John Gruden calls it. And I'm going to go get you 15 yards, get out of bounds, and not get touched.
And then what does that recovery look like? Is it ice bath immediately afterwards?
If I don't get tackled or go to the ground, I'm good.
Okay.
But if I have to hit somebody and I have to hit the ground, yeah, I'm out for 3 to 5 days.
Maybe just a lookout block. Just
3 to 5 business days.
Deliver the lookout block and you're good.
I'm too...
Too much pride, huh?
I got too much pride. Randy, I did a commercial and they tried to have me get ran over by that. I said, no, that's not realistic. No, I'm not going to do that. No. We'll make it more realistic.
It's 7:02. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Later in the show, Blues broadcaster on the TV side, John Kelly, will join us. We're also going to talk to Bradley Carnell as City gets ready to go to Vancouver tomorrow night. And Claibs is going to join us as well. Hope he's feeling better. Claibs will join us at 9:30. The Blues fall to the Blue Jackets in preseason play last night, 5-3. An ugly, forgettable night. You know what? If the Blues would have won 6-0 and Jordan Binnington would have had 74 saves in the shutout, and the Blues would have gotten a hat trick from Jordan Kyrou, it was a preseason game, and it was still forgettable. By definition, preseason games are forgettable unless your quarterback gets hurt.
It's just pretend points. Yeah.
Pretend points.
Yeah, it's pretend points. I guess the only highlight is Jacob Vrana.
Yeah, okay.
He was able to get 3
hard
points.
for me, Brooke.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
I want to call him Yakub.
I do too.
But he keeps going by Jacob, so we have to respect that, I guess.
He's being too nice to the journos down there. He's changing for us, and I don't like that. Be yourself, Yakub.
Pretty soon it'll be Jake, and we'll all be disgusted. Come on, be your own man.
It just keeps constantly
make it easier
chasing
for everyone else.
Yeah, so the Blues were down 4-0 just 5 minutes into the second period before Jacob Vrana scored a couple to make it closer. Justin Falk and Torrey Krug both -3.
Yeah.
So they need to pick things up. But like I say, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You won't remember this in November.
I'm trying not to get too worried-ish because I know it's just preseason and we've been playing, a lot of different younger guys, different things like that. But this was the game that Torrey Krug was coming back quickly from injury. So I think maybe you were hoping to see a little bit more there. But then it is just the first game.
And he's working his way into shape. He hasn't really skated. I mean, he's back, but he got hurt in August. So it's been a month.
We talked to Curbs yesterday, and I asked him about the shots on goal. They're giving up about 35 shots on goal per game.
From what I understand, they're working on things in the offensive zone and really not concentrating as much on holding shots.
I hope that changes.
I
hope
do.
they're not giving up 40 shots a game.
Did something happen last season?
3 of them going to go in.
That made you this concerned?
I don't know. Bad defense. A little bit of bad defense didn't sit well with me.
We'll be all right.
Just a little bit, Rocc. Not a lot. Just a
wee bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
maybe a little bit more.
It might have been a bad night for the Blues because they lost. It was a much worse night for the New York Football Giants.
Oh, my God.
Holy cow, they're bad. 24-3. We're at the point now in the season where you can legitimately say they're bad. 24-3 was the final. DK Metcalf scoring for Kyler's film room at the end of the first quarter. That was great. Graham Gano hitting a field goal for the Giants. That was their highlight of the night, a 55-yarder. Before the end of the first half, Kenneth Walker with a 1-yard touchdown run, making it 14-3 in favor of Seattle. And then in the third quarter, Kerry's Illini guy came through.
This was hit. Back the other way, Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon cuts back. What a night for the rookie. You think they love him in Seattle? How about 6 points? Touchdown Witherspoon, no flags.
Joe Buck the call on ESPN earlier in the game. Troy Aikman had compared Witherspoon to Deion Sanders.
Yes. The comparison, I think I can understand the comparison in terms of the competitiveness and the
Swagger.
The swag, but also Deion was a very intelligent football player, and Devin Witherspoon diagnoses plays really well. There's a first play of the game against Indiana last year when he was in college where he almost killed the receiver or running back, whatever it was, the ball was thrown in the flat. That's a guy that understands what's going on and can diagnose a play really quick. He did it in the game. He had a big hit against the running back in the hole in the game in the second quarter, I think. And so he's a guy that understands football now. I think he's more physical than what Deion was.
No, he tackled somebody last night. That's one more tackle than Deion had.
He's a guy that doesn't mind sticking his nose in there, sticking his face in there. He's a good, fun football player to watch. Young player is going to be really good in this league for a long time.
He really is exciting. And, Danny Dimes, I know that's his nickname is Danny Dimes. He threw a dime. It was just to Witherspoon, essentially. That's,
okay.
He was also sacked 11 times.
That's not great for the stats.
No,
the Giants averaged 3.4 yards per play. They ran the ball for 112 yards on 29 carries. So it was 3.9 yards per rush, which is actually representative. They've scored 3 points at home in 2 games. So Coach Brian Daboll, last year's Coach of the Year in the NFL, what happened?
We didn't play a complimentary football game, so turned the football over. Had some opportunities, but didn't score any points. Didn't get the job done.
What do you think complimentary football looks like, CD?
I mean, playing good offense, good defense, good special teams.
So I would say that they played good. They played complimentary football.
It was
just bad.
All on the same level.
Yeah.
The defense didn't play poorly. I mean, Geno Smith only threw for 110 yards. Drew Lock threw for 63. You gave up 160 yards passing.
They only had a 281 total yards. Seattle did.
Exactly. So it wasn't. But you get the touchdown, the pick six that puts points on the board. A couple of turnovers by Daniel Jones. You can't turn the ball over and have it lead to touchdowns, to points for the opposing team. This team isn't good.
Yeah.
And without Saquon Barkley, they really aren't good. And so you made a decision to pay Daniel Jones in the offseason. Saquon Barkley got hurt in that game against the Cardinals a couple of weeks ago on the last drive of the game. It's just not. It's not good football when they don't have all of their pieces, and they still have not figured out the receiver spot. They brought in Darren Waller. We assumed that he was going to be their number one receiver. He only had 3 catches last night. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like good football, and I don't know how they fix it.
Yeah, no, I think
with the offensive line, probably.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you. What do you think the percentage-wise is for you would give for last night? When it comes to the loss, you put that more on Daniel Jones. How much percentage-wise would you put on him versus the offensive line? Because obviously, you talked about it there, his inability to take care of the ball at times. But when you're sacked 10 times, that's also concerning.
I think you have to put. I mean, the coach has to put the quarterback in a position to not have to drop back 34 times. If you don't have an offensive, if you have multiple offensive linemen hurt, you already know even when they were healthy, they aren't protecting very well. Dropping back 7-step drops is not beneficial for that quarterback. Get the ball out of his hands. Get the ball to your playmakers. Throw some screens. Throw some passes that allow him to get the ball out quickly and have his receivers make plays. It's just. You have to put it on the coaching staff. You have to put it on the offensive line despite their injuries. And you have to put it on Daniel Jones because he is not taking care of the football. That pass that he threw at the goal line, they are in position to put points on the board. And you throw it to Devin Witherspoon and he takes it 97 yards. That's not good football. And it's not going to allow you to win many games.
Yeah. Too much is given, as much required, too, for Daniel Jones. So that's all that pressure. Obviously, he experienced a lot of pressure last night, but specifically, too, when you get that big contract, even more pressure comes with it.
The baseball playoffs start today. Let me see.
Good.
See when the
what time the Cardinals play?
They must be on the bye. They must be one of those teams that has the bye.
Cool. Good.
Because today you've got Texas against Tampa Bay. You've got Adolis Garcia against Randy Arozarena. In the playoffs.
Nice.
Wow.
Plus Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton for Texas. So that'll be entertaining. Toronto and Minnesota. Toronto featuring a back end of the bullpen that includes former Cardinals, Genesis Cabrera and Jordan Hicks. So you've got that going for you, which is nice. Minnesota has former Cardinal farmhand Donovan Solano. The Arizona Diamondbacks will play at Milwaukee. Arizona featuring former Cardinal Tommy Pham. Milwaukee, I don't think, has a former Cardinal on their squad.
No, they got a brother of a Cardinal.
Yes, they do. So
root for him.
Yeah, we'll root for him a little bit. And then Miami with Sandy Alcantara and Skip Schumacher and John Mabry and John Jay.
Did you leave out Zach Gallen?
I left out Zach Gallen. There you go.
Forget about him.
No,
Yeah, you can't.
Hey, what are we doing?
So yeah, and then Miami
I think the
against
Cardinals would like
Philadelphia.
to forget about it.
Yeah, and Philadelphia featuring Edmundo Sosa. So there's a lot of former Cardinals in the playoffs today. Games start the Texas-Tampa game at 2:00, and these games are on ABC or ESPN or ESPN2. 2:00 for Texas and Tampa. Toronto and Minnesota start at 3:30. 6:00 for Arizona and Milwaukee, and then Miami and Philadelphia play tonight at 7:00 St. Louis time.
Did you mention Skip?
I did mention Skip.
Oh, okay.
Along with
Yeah.
Yanye and John Mabry. Yeah, if it's Yanye, do we go Jan Mabry?
I like that. That's fine. John Mabry
Yeah.
and Yanye.
Yeah.
I like that.
Jay's one of my favorite players.
He was great.
I really,
Yeah.
I really
Great guy.
liked him in playing baseball for the Cardinals.
It is really interesting just with the Marlins. I was reading some articles about how everything's been going with Skip, and everybody just keeps talking about how much he has changed the culture with the Marlins. And so as much as you don't want to root for any other team, I'm happy for his success, especially in his first year as a manager there.
He has a really interesting personality because he's a really nice guy, but he's really intense.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing. That's a hard line to walk. I think probably a tightrope is the way to explain it. But he, with the media, is terrific, and he's the friendliest and nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. But so he's got that going for him, but he's got Tony type intensity. So Tony La Russa type intensity, where he wants to win every day, and he insists on really high quality fundamental play, which is what happened when he grew up with George Kissel in the Cardinal organization. That does happen sometimes. So he is. He is a difference maker as a manager and has proven to be. I think this is only their fourth playoff appearance in history, Miami's. The first two, 97, they won the World Series. 03, they won the World Series. Then they made it a couple of years ago when everybody made it during COVID.
Yeah.
And now this year.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive.
Good for them. Good for him. I mean, just you are you rooting for any particular former Cardinal? Or how about a future Cardinal?
I will root for Skip. Will I root for
Sonny
Aaron Nola?
Gray. Come on, Randy, say Sonny Gray.
I will root for Sonny Gray to win his first postseason game at the age of 34.
Randy.
You said at the age of 34.
Okay, well, hold on. No, he's only 33. He doesn't turn 34 until November.
There you
Okay.
go.
Which will be a month after he finishes playing, November
Randy.
7th.
So they'll
probably
be done.
by
They'll be
next
done
year.
early.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be cool if he was able to win his first postseason game. I think that'd be wonderful.
He's gonna. If he does, it'll be one more than the Cardinals will win this year.
That'd be one more than he's ever won.
That's true.
Well, I'll just say this. If you're the Cardinals and you plan, if your goal, like the other day, Ali said, hey, I want guys in that are trying to win a world championship.
Yes.
Not saying that Sonny Gray doesn't try to win a world championship. I'm just saying he can't handle the pressure of it.
So we're off the Sonny Gray train.
I've never been on the Sonny Gray trade. If you like him, if it's cool, hey, he's got a good regular season record. If you like him, I have no problem with you
Rocc
liking
wants
him.
him to be the number
I
two.
just don't. I know that he has never performed during the postseason and rarely performed in
can I-
clutch time.
Randy,
say
you put
this?
He put it one devastating way before we started the show.
What?
He's great. He's a great Red.
He's perfect for the Cincinnati
That
Reds.
is a devastating way to put it.
If he's not
Bad,
good,
Randy.
if he's good in the regular season but not good in the postseason, you don't want him. I mean, we at least get to the postseason.
I think
We ain't in the postseason
And then
right
just
now.
fall apart
The thing
again
is,
in the
if
If you
postseason.
follow, then
Here's-
make him the
Here's the
fourth or
thing:
fifth
if
starter.
you're going to give a guy a bunch of money, right? And Sonny Gray's going to make a bunch of money, and you don't have a guy that is the man. Don't you want to have a guy that's the man?
Yes.
Don't you want
if
to
you're
have?
going to spend that kind of money, yes.
I can't wait till we
Yes.
discuss this. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
discussing this Cardinals pitching situation.
It's
This is
Man.
terrible taste in your mouth.
I long for the days of Dave Duncan. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we've got some early division battles. Studs versus duds. Who do you have winning these early battles in the National Football League? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Yeah, I think that Tua has played well. For whatever reason, I just didn't like the Miami Dolphins game plan. I felt like they needed to run the ball a little bit more. I know Devon Achane had a big game, but I didn't think it was. They didn't think they ran the ball enough in that game to be successful. So they need to run it more to have more success in that game, and then I think they'll be okay.
Oh, by the way, Miami, after a game against the Giants on Sunday, the Giants have to fly to Miami after losing on Monday night, and they get Miami on Sunday.
Good luck.
And then the Dolphins also have Carolina at home, but then they round out October and start November by going to Philadelphia, New England at home, and then Kansas City at home. Then you get the Raiders and the Jets in Washington. So the schedule really lines up well for Miami until the end of the season. Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo to close things out their last 3 games. What about in the NFC East? The Eagles still undefeated at 4-0. Dallas is at 3-1. Dallas has San Francisco this weekend.
I really like what the Eagles have done, even though, Sirianni said they aren't hitting on all cylinders just yet, but they're in week 4 going into week 5. They don't have to be, but they're 4-0. And so I think they're going to continue to just get better and better. They've gotten A.J. Brown involved in the game plan. He was a little frustrated the first couple of weeks when he wasn't getting the ball, but now he is. You still got Devontae Smith. They're running the ball with DeAndre Swift so well. Offensively, they got a lot going on that they can do. I'm not a believer in the Cowboys yet. The loss to the Arizona Cardinals a couple of weeks ago really left a bad taste in my mouth with who they are and what they are. So I have to see more from the Cowboys. I still haven't seen Dak have one of those games that make you feel like he's, a top 5, top 10 quarterback. Micah Parsons is going to get after your quarterback, but I think that the Eagles are still the standard in the NFC East right now.
It will be interesting this weekend because I feel like this is a huge game for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott when you're facing the 49ers.
It is, but I honestly, I don't think they got a chance. The 49ers are that good. And it's like the 49ers and then everybody else. Mm-hmm. They are hitting on all cylinders. On offense, defense, special teams, they are playing so well. Christian McCaffrey is going to be a lead candidate for Offensive Player of the Year. He's playing well. Brock Purdy finds ways to get the ball out of his hands and to his receivers and doesn't make mistakes. And so when you're looking at what this offense does, Deebo Samuel didn't even do much last game.
No.
And Brandon Ayuk was the one. So they have a team that has a lot of weapons on the offensive side. And then let's just not even think about the defense who has Nick Bosa and gets after the quarterback like a madman.
And then and we'll touch on Dallas just one more little bit here. They lose Trayvon Diggs, and I know they have depth at corner, but when they have to face a team that has a lot of weapons like San Francisco, that's when the losing a guy like Diggs really does affect you. So I'm with you, too. I think Philadelphia is the class of that division, but I just can't Dallas isn't a dud. They'll be a playoff team, but I would be surprised if they were able to win much on the road. Okay, AFC South. Everybody is at 2-2 in the AFC South.
Can we flip a coin?
That's what it feels like every year. Can't this be the year that somebody just actually wins in a dominant fashion where that this is the person? Why can't the AFC South be like that?
Last year, and this is where coaching is right now. Yeah. Because the preseason is basically used to evaluate. Nobody develops their team during the preseason anymore. Last year, the Jaguars got off to a 2-6 start, went to the playoffs, won a playoff game. Doug Peterson knows how to do it. Does Shane Steichen know how to do it? Probably not. Does DeMeco Ryans? He's been there. I'll be interested to see if they can sustain and get better. I think they'll get better, but I think the Jaguars are just a better team. They're more established. They did win the division last year. And then Tennessee, can they be consistently good with their quarterback situation?
I think the question is who is the best quarterback in this division right
Trevor
now?
Lawrence.
It is, but there's a guy in Houston that is a young rookie knocking on the door saying, you think so? Let me show you. Because what C.J. Stroud is doing, this Houston Texans team is not supposed to have won 2 games at this point.
He's been great.
And been in multiple games. And then you go into Jacksonville and win that game. I'm not saying that the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts are the most surprising team so far for me because I didn't think with 2 rookie quarterbacks that they would be sitting here with 2 wins, 4 weeks into the season. I don't have an answer for you because I thought Jacksonville would run away with this division, and they don't seem like they want to. Tennessee is not able to run the ball and can't get the ball out of Tannehill's hands to the right people at the right time. I don't know. Again, I would flip a coin, but if you were forcing me, I like what the Houston Texans are doing, and I like what the Indianapolis Colts are doing. And the Indianapolis Colts get Jonathan Taylor back.
But they do. I just don't think they have enough good players on defense.
Zaire Franklin is a stud.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're devoid of good players on defense, but I just don't. If you have to play 17 weeks, I think eventually that'll catch up with you with what they don't have.
I'm gonna be. That's gonna be I think that one is gonna go down to like week 16, 17 to figure out who wins that division.
It'll be fun
as usual.
Yes,
per usual.
I know. No, it's believe me, Titans fans are very well aware of this right now. It's just it's inconsistent, especially on the Titans side of things, where it's just hot and cold. It feels very bipolar with this team, and you've already seen that so far this season. Can they build it and make it consistent? I don't know. You just don't know with Ryan Tannehill being the quarterback. And you're talking about the young quarterbacks. That is something that does concern me long term, just as a Titans fan, is seeing these young quarterbacks really starting to rise. Trevor Lawrence, the way that he continues to grow every single year. And meanwhile, the Titans are still attached to Ryan Tannehill. Malik Willis they had, that's not panning out. Then you have Will Levis, and that's not panning out, a.k.a. Mayo Boy.
Has he looked bad? Do they?
You don't even see him that much.
He didn't look good in preseason.
Yeah, I think they're doing the right thing with him.
Yeah.
In trying to develop him.
Well, hopefully. I just have
Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, those guys that have to sit around for a while. Almost always, when you have to develop a quarterback, he winds up being better.
Yeah.
I agree. I just don't like the fact that they went and got two quarterbacks in back-to-back drafts, and neither one of them are on the field.
No, but you
know,
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
You got Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, so why did you go get two quarterbacks?
Exactly.
I know that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, coming up, what's the best way to fix the Cardinal fundamentals? Matt Holliday had some strong opinions about the way the Cardinals play defense and the way that the league practices fundamentals. Greg Amsinger did too. And we're going to tell you what the best way to fix fundamentals is next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, the Blues in action in preseason. Again, they fall to the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-3. They went down 4-0 early on into the game. Jakub Vrana eventually did get 2 goals to make it a little bit closer. Torrey Krug and Justin Falk rough on the night. Both were -3 on the defensive end. Last night in Monday Night Football, the Seahawks over the Giants 24-3, and our favorite Illini, I-L-L-I-N-I, got an interception return. Devin Witherspoon, who is balling out for the Seattle Seahawks. And here on 101 ESPN tonight, you can check out playoff baseball. Not Cardinals, though. It's the Phillies and the Marlins in Game 1. Pregame starts at 6:30. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
I think there's a correlation to giving a bunch of players financial security and making them feel immensely valued and not having them go on the field looking over their shoulder if they mess up. I think there's immense value in the psychology of commitment. These are the things the Braves have done. The psychology of commitment is an amazing thing in sports. And the polar opposite of that is the musical chairs of the St. Louis Cardinals outfield, and no one can get their footing, and no one can feel like they're a central figure to where the Cardinals are going. So the psychology of that is the Atlanta Braves, and I think they've done a remarkable job. And Alex Anthopoulos has had to make some very difficult decisions.
That is our friend Greg Amsinger of MLB Network talking about one of the reasons that the Braves are good and perhaps one of the reasons that the Cardinals aren't. And beyond the psychology of commitment that Greg talks about, I believe that it's much easier for a manager to ask a player to do the things that you need to do to win baseball games if that player isn't angling for the next contract. For example, you have a left-handed hitter at the plate and you have a runner at second with nobody out or 1 out, and you want to move that runner to third, preferably with nobody out. And you want that hitter to hit a ground ball to the right side to move the runner over to third. That player, if he doesn't have a contract and is looking for a contract, whether through arbitration or free agency next year, is much more inclined to swing for the fences, try to hit a home run, hit a fly ball, strike out, maybe 30, 35% of the time. If he already has the contract, if he has been signed, Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris Jr., if he already has his money and he's not worried about the contract for next year, he's much more inclined, I would think, just from an observational standpoint, to want to help the team win because he's already got his money. He's already got his contract. He doesn't need to worry about his contract for 24, 24, 25, 26, 27. I would think that it would be beneficial for a franchise like the Cardinals to take the cue from Atlanta that Greg just described and try to get players to not worry as much about their contracts and worry about winning.
Yeah, I think that could be helpful, but they also have Ronald Acuna Jr., which, of course, locking that up is huge, and he is so talented. We've seen what he's done this season. He's one of the most exciting players in baseball to watch right now, if not the most exciting player to watch in baseball right now. My question is, though, outside of Jordan Walker, just because he, I believe, is the future of the organization, who else do you feel confident in saying this is going to be a defined role for you next season when I'm talking about the outfield? Because it doesn't feel like you have much security in some of those other positions, or you've seen enough.
You know Newbar's going to be playing, right?
Yes.
Whether it's center or left, but then you don't know if it's going to be Contreras. I'm assuming that it's not going to be Dylan Carlson. So it's between Contreras in left and Nootbaar in center, or Edman in center and Nootbaar in left. Those are the two choices, right? And then Alec Burleson is your fourth outfielder, probably? Or Richie?
Palacios.
Richie. I'm a big Richie Palacios fan. I like him coming off the bench, but
okay. I was worried because, well, what happens if he and Nootbaar are battling for a spot?
Well, Willie Mays wins, right?
You'd think so, yeah.
That's a good point. And Stevie, you've been talking about this all season of giving players defined and consistent roles to be able to build those opportunities and build confidence. And you've even seen Jordan Walker. I think the second half of the season, what we've seen his progression defensively is because he was able to have more of that defined role. So do you guys think, and CD, do you think it would be a mistake if the Cardinals don't give the players defined roles at the start of next season?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think going into the season, knowing exactly where you're going to be playing, where you're going to be hitting in the order, it just gives you confidence. It gives you a level of comfortability where you just every single day you know what you have going on, and then if I have today off, I don't have to worry about being called into the game, and I can really take this day off mentally and not be concerned. I think they didn't do a good job all season long of having guys playing in different positions. For me, whoever's playing center field, I hope it's not Tommy Edman. I hope that Tommy Edman is your second baseman, because if not, then you have Nolan Gorman at second base. Maybe it's Brendan Donovan. Is Brendan Donovan an everyday player in you all's mind? Does he fit the mold?
Healthy, yeah, he was pretty good as a rookie.
Well, then, if
especially
that's the case,
in your lineup,
if he stays healthy, then you can't put Tommy Edman in center field. But I don't want to see Willson Contreras in left field. And so just figuring out what's going on in this outfield, it seems like we have the same issue right now that we had last season, where we had too many outfielders, where you had to send Jordan Walker down. Now you're putting another player potentially in the outfield. It's a lot of mess that I think that needs to be cleaned up. Find defined roles, find out where guys are going to be playing every single day, and let them go do their job to the best of their ability, and find some starting pitching.
Yeah, the starting pitching is a big point. I think just having that carousel in the outfield again next season could be a big mistake. But then I don't know if you feel comfortable, you've seen enough even at the end of the season to say, okay, I want this person here, here, and here. Outside of Jordan Walker, they seem committed to him in right field. But other than that, they were still moving guys around. You still had Tommy Edman as your center fielder. And I do believe that Ollie Marmol would like Tommy Edman to be their center fielder.
But I keep looking at this, and we don't know what's going to happen with Contreras. But if Contreras is your left fielder, then he's there, Newt's in center, and Walker is in right. I think that would defensively be their best setup, because then you get Edman into second base, and you've got Arenado, Wynn, Edman, and Goldie with Herrera or Kisner behind the plate. Now, if you have to DH Willson Contreras, that changes everything, because then you probably do have Edman in center with... And my lineup, by the way, doesn't include Brendan Donovan, which I think it almost has to.
Does it include Nolan Gorman?
No, I don't think Nolan Gorman's going to be here.
Okay.
So maybe what you do is here's what they probably do. They probably put Donovan at second. If Contreras is here, Contreras is your DH. Newt, your outfield is Newt, Edman, Walker. Looking at this now with clearer eyes, I'm betting that Tommy Edman is your center fielder either way, which I don't think is great. I would rather have him on the infield.
There's just so many different layers to this. And Willson Contreras, by the way, would have to, I assume, agree to and feel comfortable with going into the outfield. Somebody's got to take the lead. Somebody's
got to be the adult and be the boss, right? It should be the person that signs the checks.
Yeah.
You should have what's called a manager to get players to play positions and get... as Dick O'Neill used to say, the thing that made him proudest as a coach was to get players to do things they didn't necessarily think or want to do, think they could or want to do. And that's what he has to do. By the way, let's get back to the fundamentals here. And Matt Holliday talked about why fundamentals are where they are in baseball right now. And it goes back to when kids are 5 or 6 years old.
The competitive element of trying to win and doing everything at the expense of winning. I think we have gotten away from that a little bit. And I think the analytics would say, don't bunt, don't sacrifice sort of giving yourself up and hitting a grounder to second to get the guy over from second to third. And I think sometimes the numbers, they can't quantify the winning part of small parts of the game. And so when we don't acknowledge it, we can't quantify it. It's not taught. It's not emphasized at the minor league level. The emphasis is more on guys getting to the major leagues and getting there and really winning and losing seems to be not really that big of a deal. Where that competitive spirit of, hey, let's win. I think that's one thing particularly with Jackson, that I've noticed that even at the minor league level, like he wants to win these games.
Talking about his son, and one of the things that Matt also mentioned in that was that as youngsters, kids are taught on an individual basis. So they're learning individual hitting, they're learning individual pitching, but fielding and playing fundamental baseball isn't a big part of it. Then they get to a showcase, and all they want to do is show that they can throw hard or they can hit with exit velo. There's nothing about winning that is taught, even at the lowest levels.
If you want to see the worst form of sports, individual sports, go watch AAU basketball, because it is the worst. It is, in terms of guys working together, and that's what it's all become individualized. Everyone is out for themselves to get to the next level. And then you see it in at all levels when guys make it to the big leagues or when they make it to the NBA, NFL. They don't know how to play a team game because they've never been taught that. It is a problem, in my opinion, because you have to learn how to win in order to learn how to become a champion. And if you never learn that, if you never are forced to sit down and really learn how to work together, bunting a runner over so that he can get in scoring position with less than 2 outs, getting guys in a position so you can win the game and not just, I need to have this great launch angle so that I can drive the ball out of the park and I can win the game. No, we can still win the game without me being the hero. I can be a hero in another way.
So here's what you do at the minor league level, where guys aren't making a whole bunch of money. They're still playing 130 games. $10, $20 for every winning play that you make. Okay, so we're going to put on the bunt, okay? You have to learn how to bunt. And you put the bunt down, sacrifice yourself, runner moves up. That's a winning baseball play. You hit a ball to the right side to move a runner over. That's a winning baseball play. You hit the cutoff man. That's a winning baseball play. So from an organizational standpoint, it's a drop in the bucket. It might cost you $100 a night if you have a really good night at the minor league level, right? And that is one way to incentivize young players who aren't making a lot of money to become better players and make it a habit.
Yeah. Didn't a former manager do that? Didn't he incentivize
with Whitey
that?
and
yeah.
Ozzie? Yeah.
Yes.
And it was $1. It was $1. And
but still,
but
yeah.
What you do is, because inherently everybody's competitive, you appeal to the player's competitive nature. And especially, and you can't do this at the minor league level, but the bet was for every ground ball and line drive Ozzie hit, because he was trying to hit home runs at 150 pounds, Whitey got $1. And for every, Ozzie got $1. For every fly ball or strikeout, Whitey got $1. And Ozzie was so far ahead by the All-Star break, they called off the bet.
Yeah. I think it goes back to, too, that there just needs to be a cohesive message from the entire organization from the top down, where everybody's communicating. We talked about that with the pitching philosophy this season, not just at the major league level, but at the minor league level as well, because we know that if Gordon Graceffo and Michael McGreevy were ready, then we would have seen them at some point this season. But also on the hitting side of things, on the fundamental side of things, there needs to be a clear, cohesive message where everybody's communicating on all levels, so that when you have that minor league player come up to the majors, yes, there's going to be a learning curve, obviously, because they're young, but you won't have as much where Ollie said even earlier this season, remember where he said that you have to, you can't learn, you shouldn't be taught these things at the major league level, essentially.
And with all due respect to the analytics guys who went to Harvard and never played an inning of baseball, Ollie deserves this, to get all of the minor league coaches and managers in a conference room at a hotel before spring training starts and say, this is the way we're going to play baseball.
Yes.
This is what I want when guys arrive that I'm going to manage at the major league level. This is, and go through every single scenario, have them there for 8 hours, and let Ollie, the manager of your big league club, we talked yesterday about picking the groceries, right? Let him get players that are prepared to play his style of baseball, rather than have no communication and have willy-nilly teaching, or have somebody else who's not Ollie Marmol teach minor leaguers how to play. Or have the coaches teach them how to play something that he really doesn't appreciate. Clearly, there are issues with what we read over the weekend that he said about players not wanting to play well enough. And he's talked about how he was frustrated having infielders play the outfield. You know what? Jordan Walker's your best prospect. Jordan Walker probably should have played an inning of the outfield before they traded Harrison Bader.
Yes.
So do those things. Have an infielder, have a Tommy Edman type player, have a Brendan Donovan, have a Dylan Carlson or Nolan Gorman. Have them play a corner outfield for a couple of games. It's not going to hurt anything. They're playing 120, 130 games. Let them get some experience out there and make your team as good and as versatile as you possibly can so you don't run into the problems that they ran into at the big league level this year.
Yes, the same message. No more mixed messages. The same message from the top down.
One guy.
Yes, one guy. And if you say, John Mozeliak, that Oli Marmol is going to be your manager and that he's not going anywhere, which is the right thing to say because that's what he said in his comments. Of course, he's not going to get rid of him, during the season. I know he said that before the season ended. Then you have to give him that control and ability to do that so that it can be the winning culture that Ollie and the organization thinks they can make here in St. Louis.
So we're supposed to have a clock, theoretically here. We're supposed to have a clock that we abide by, where we have a segment that runs from the top of the hour till 11 after, quarter after to 26. You get the idea. But if somebody comes in here and all of a sudden they decide, oh, well, we don't go by that clock, then our management is going to be pretty unhappy about that.
Yeah.
We need to have a voice throughout the course of the day. And the Cardinals and every other good team need to have a voice throughout their entire system. And that's how you get better fundamentally. And the other part of it is sign everybody to long-term contracts. So I'm all in on giving everybody their money this year.
It saves you money in the long run.
Does.
Yes.
It's the smart play. And maybe, they did that with Colton Wong. That's the one name that I remember that they did that with. And maybe it didn't go as well as they. I thought it went pretty. I thought it went okay.
Better than it did with DeYoung.
Much better.
Yeah.
But that's the risk you run when you sign a player to a long-term deal before he hits free agency, because it's going to cost you more money. If they were to give Jordan Walker, if they said tomorrow, hey, we're going to give you a 7-year deal worth $100 million, you think Jordan Walker isn't going to sign on that line?
He will sign. Yeah.
I agree. As opposed to waiting 4 years and now we got to give you a 7-year deal worth $250 million.
Walker, Edman, Newt, Wynn. And once Ivan Herrera shows that he's a big leaguer, and once Brendan Donovan shows me he's healthy.
Sign him up.
There we go. Hey, we've got Take It or Leave It coming up. Send in your text to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Take It or Leave It next on 101 ESPN.
leave it.
Want to say something? We put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it on 101 ESPN. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. All right, word out of Los Angeles that Heisman Trophy winner Caleb Williams, who is a junior, can come out after this season if he desires, but the only 5 teams he would play for are the Cowboys, Raiders, Vikings, Giants, or 49ers. Take it or leave it, one of those teams will own the first pick in the draft and Williams will come out.
Cowboys,
Raiders, Vikings, Giants, and Niners.
Vikings and Giants are vying for that number 1 overall.
What about the Bears?
They're not on the list, so maybe he goes 4 years to USC, or 3 years, I guess, and 1 year to.
I'm not mad at him for that. I mean, we saw Eli Manning do it.
Yeah.
We saw quarterback from Denver, John Elway did it. You have. You only get one shot.
But here's the thing, Kerry. Now he can go back to USC and make as much money as he would as a rookie. As a rookie, yeah.
So I'm not opposed to it at all. I actually like that he's coming out and saying it early enough so teams like the Chicago Bears, who may end up losing every game this year, don't think that they have a chance to get him.
Should the Vikings tank?
They should trade Kirk Cousins.
So that's tanking.
If they are, if they are trying to get another quarterback, and if Kirk Cousins is on the last year of his deal, they've been talking about trading him, moving him, maybe to the Jets, maybe to another place. If they do trade him, they are tanking and they are looking to get that number 1 overall pick.
And maybe the Raiders.
I don't know why he put the Raiders on that list.
Yeah,
that's an intriguing one.
You Cowboys and Niners aren't getting the first pick.
No, they don't. And they're not looking for a quarterback.
And the Cardinals aren't.
Do you think that they would trade Kirk Cousins? It was just interesting seeing Aaron Rodgers and his progression. It really looks like he's going to be determined to come back by next season. Do you think that they would still want to do that trade if you're the Jets?
Who would? I wouldn't, because that's not going to turn the Jets into a playoff team, and he's a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
Who would Kirk Cousins go to? I can't find a team, I don't think, where if they would add Kirk Cousins, it would turn them from a non-playoff team to a playoff team.
That's what I'm saying.
The Jets?
They wouldn't. They're too far. They're too messed up already.
Well, they won't win the division.
No,
but because the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills,
will be ahead of them.
But they could push for a while. They have a really good team. Zach Wilson, maybe he figured something out last week.
Would it make you feel better about the Buccaneers doing something after winning a bad division if you upgraded from Baker to Kirk?
Is that an
I'm
upgrade?
okay with Kirk. I mean, I'm okay with Baker right now.
Okay.
For that team. I don't know what team would actually benefit. Boy, I actually do know what team would benefit.
Say it, Kerry. Say it with your chest.
It ain't his fault, though, man.
Say it with your chest.
It ain't his fault. It ain't old Kenny Pickett's fault.
Oh, we
ain't
knew
his
it.
fault.
Yep.
It ain't his fault. I won't.
So
place
that
the
won't
blame
solve
on
all
him.
the problems, right?
Nah, unless Kirk calls his own plays.
Hey, maybe that's the plan.
Maybe. So there was you all know that the NBA implemented a new rule. Guys that want to win postseason awards or regular season awards at the end of the year need to play in at least 65 games. It's really the Kawhi Leonard rule because of his load management. Kawhi says that this rule doesn't apply to him. Take it or leave it. The rule was created because of him.
100% take it.
I would take that too. Yeah.
He says he's never done load management. He's always been hurt.
He has been hurt often, but I think he's had some load management in his career.
I would say he has too.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I agree with you.
They should call it the Kawhi rule. They call it load management. Oh, he's doing a Kawhi. He's taking some time.
Here's the
off.
thing. We have the audio.
He has been hurt, though, a lot.
But it's the most boring audio I've ever heard in my entire life. You don't want to hear. No,
I love
it's
his
the
laugh,
worst.
though. He has the best laugh out there.
That's a different kind of laugh that scared the hell out of me when I heard it. It worried me. And he's like, "Oh, they heard my laugh. Let me stop."
Yeah, he got scared by his own laugh, is what it felt like. So, mine, guys, I was thinking about this earlier, Randy, when you were talking about the age demographic that you saw at the Cardinals game this past weekend. Take it or leave it. They need to take the page out of what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing and have one of their players, I'm talking about the Cardinals, one of their players date a superstar,
Yeah,
a
I'll take it.
global superstar, and that will help.
I'll take
who
it.
would that be?
I don't know.
What
I'm
superstar
trying to
is
think.
available?
So Vanessa Hudgens was
dating.
dating a Major League Baseball. You guys remember Cole Tucker that played with the
Tucker.
Pirates?
Yep.
Yeah, Cole Tucker.
Sounds like a country star.
Yeah. Really? Yeah.
She's not enough of a superstar.
Yeah, it doesn't
Taylor
move the
Swift
needle.
Taylor Swift is a different level. Like that's like
There's only
Beyonce
two.
and Taylor.
Right, those are
Yeah.
the two,
Beyonce's
right?
married, so
Yeah.
you can't.
So we need to find a new
You gotta
global
find
superstar.
somebody
Who's
else.
like the new it girl, I guess. Olivia Rodrigo,
There you go.
I think is big with the young ladies.
Yep.
There you
There's a
go.
Play.
Shoot your shot, fellas.
Yep.
You
we
miss
go.
100% of the shots you don't take.
Wayne Gretzky and Michael Scott.
Or go old school. Heidi Klum is now single again.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's not how you develop a
She
younger
is?
audience.
Wait, that's so random. How do you know that? That's so random.
Something
Is
I
that
know.
not?
That's something I happen to know.
What? Oh, Selena Gomez. How did I not think about that?
Seago.
Yeah.
Didn't
No?
she date Justin Bieber?
Yeah, she did.
But you know what? She's
No, she's single.
The demographic is the only murders in the building demographic. I mean, is our 20-year-olds watching that? I mean, she's with Steve Martin and Martin Short on her show.
The show's fantastic.
It's a fantastic show, but I don't know if that's how you.
She's BFFs with Taylor Swift. So then when
Oh,
Taylor
there-
Swift come
okay.
with her,
There you
to a
go.
game
You
gotta
at
find.
Busch
You gotta. I don't know.
Taylor Swift's grandmother graduated from Lindenwood University.
Really?
So we're
Marjorie?
trying. We're shooting our shot at Lindenwood.
Take it or leave it, Randy. Belichick should go into the Hall of Fame with a TB-shaped asterisk.
I will totally take that. Yes.
Come on.
Oh no!
Come on.
Yeah. Boy, is he a bad head coach.
No, I think he's a bad general manager. The team that he has put together has not been.
Yeah, that's true. But he
What
didn't.
do you have? Who is the last? When you think of skill positions, who is the last great skill position that comes to mind for that team?
Well, Gronk became a skill position guy, right?
But he-
2010, maybe?
I'm talking a guy. Yes, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Like Randy Moss comes to my mind. He didn't. He drafted. He hasn't
Moss
drafted.
forced his way there.
Exactly. So just drafting guys, finding guys that are skillful and able to make plays. Hasn't been great.
Hey, I'll go back to this apples to apples stat that is irrefutable. Without Tom Brady as his starting quarterback, Jeff Fisher has a winning percentage of .512. Without Tom Brady as his starting quarterback, Bill Belichick has a winning percentage of .441.
So clearly, Jeff Fisher is greater than Bill Belichick.
There's no doubt about it. If Fisher would have magically drafted Tom Brady in 2000.
Yeah, Kerry Collins.
Yeah, he did. Who else did he? Well, he had McNair.
He did.
There you go.
He did.
But
yes.
Belichick had Bledsoe.
Those are two good quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Kerry Collins did take a team to the Super Bowl.
he did.
Kind of.
So one more.
Take it or leave it. Devin Witherspoon wins Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Take it.
Oh, he's going to get Rookie of the Week.
Yeah. He won
it
He's
last
going to
night.
get Player of the Week. Actually, he had seven tackles, 2 sacks, interception, pick six. He had a really good game.
He's Ed Reed. Or is he Troy Polamalu? He's quarterback. He's different. He's Ronnie Lott at cornerback.
Troy and
Antoine
Ed are
Winfield.
two totally different. When people try to compare them, that bothers me.
The thing, though, the one comparison, though, is they can both play in all three zones,
yes,
right?
they can change the
cover,
game.
they can go to the line of scrimmage, they can get after the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
To me, that's the one comp.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. They are completely different.
Yes.
But the one, and Witherspoon did it last night, covering the pass,
Yep.
being at the line of scrimmage, covering the run, or getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, he did a good job. Very good job.
So, thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
Coming up next on 101 ESPN, Mo is kind of backing off of the "we're getting 3 starting pitchers" statement. Are you worried? That's next on 101 ESPN.
I think when I said 3, it was at a time where we were really down to one starter at that point. And I will say, we are still bullish on Matz. We think, like, from a physical standpoint, he'll be in a good spot next year. I think really Thompson has stepped up, but we know we're going to need some big innings, some quality innings. And at the very least, we also know we're going to have to add some depth there because we're going to need some protection. Certainly pleased with what we saw out of Rom. But, what will his role be next year? Hard to say. And so lots of questions that we can be asking ourselves right now, but that'll help build the GPS for this offseason.
Pomo Mo with Jimmy the Cat Hayes Sunday on the Cardinal pregame show on Bally Sports. So when I said 3, it was right after we had traded a couple of starting pitchers and we had one starting pitcher. Presumably that was going to be Miles Mikolas. Now we're counting on Steven Matz. We think he'll be in a good spot physically for 2024. We've been impressed by Zach Thompson and what he's done. We're bullish on Matz, right? And so that's 3 starters that you've got right there. So why would you need to go get 3 more?
Well, I mean, he also mentioned Drew Rom, so I mean,
we like what we've seen of Drew Rom, and well, number one, the guy's got a fantastic dome. I'm not going to question Drew Rom. He's got a good beard. He's got a nice shaved head. So I like what I've seen of Drew Rom also. But then I saw him pitch. And so maybe Mo was just watching the one game in Baltimore. I don't know. Maybe he was predisposed and missed out on the fact that the guy went 1-4 with an 8.02 earned run average.
You just have to give him time, Randy.
We like
you have to give
what we've
him
seen.
Time, right?
Well, and you know what? Here's the thing. He only allowed 51 hits in 33 2/3 innings. So if...
Say it again?
He allowed 51 hits in 33.2 innings.
It's not great, is it?
His whip, his walks and hits for per innings pitched was more than 2.079. 2 base runners an inning. That means a runner in scoring position on average every single inning that you pitch. So 19 walks in 33 2/3.
No.
Like what we saw.
All of this is deeply concerning because, he did say 3 starting pitchers, and I just heard there where he was walking back on his comments. That is deeply concerning.
He said that.
Because he also said earlier when he was speaking about getting the 3 starting pitchers, he said, I think he is going to throw up. And I think a lot of people listening are going to throw up too, because when you say that remember, he said even when you see something in the second half of the season, we're still going to be aggressive when it comes to the pitching market this offseason. Now that concerns me because there's still so many question marks. Is Steven Matz going to be fully healthy enough for next season? Because he has had injuries in the past and he is a friend of the show, but still there is that history of injuries. Miles Mikolas, will that hopefully be a good year for him, as he said? Because Miles said, he has the good years, bad years. Next year will be a good year. Will it be a fully good year for Miles Mikolas? And he can be an innings eater, so that's something that you definitely need on your staff. You just hope that he can finish off or do a little bit better than what you've seen this season. I have so many concerns, and to me, there's still a lot of question marks, even more so than maybe what you felt like last offseason going into this year.
Are you concerned as much about the situation if they go out and assign Sonny Gray, who has historically been a 200-inning pitcher, if you go back to 2015. So if they sign Sonny Gray, are any of your concerns alleviated?
No. I'm still not feeling super confident about that. He is 35, Sonny Gray is.
Sonny comes home. He is going to turn 34 in November.
And I do understand that he has been pitching well. He's going to be the Game 2 starter for the Twins, by the way. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Because you have that one.
Yeah. What was his postseason record so far, Randy?
He's got a win. Let's see. He pitched in the postseason.
0-3.
Yeah. Pitched in the postseason in 2013 and 2017. And he has a quality start in his very first Major League postseason game in 2013, but then since then, 5 innings, 3 1/3, 5. He hasn't exactly been Chris Carpenter.
No, doesn't sound like it. I think if you just get Sonny Gray, I think that will not be enough. And then if you go and find some more like possible 3 and 4, pitchers, I just don't.
Sean Manaea.
I don't know if that's enough to say that this is a secure starting rotation going to next season.
When Mo said this a while back that they were going to go get 3 starters, I said, yeah, I don't think so.
You said that.
I said, I think what's going to happen, I said the worst thing that can happen down the stretch is that some of these younger players start performing well enough to where he backs off of the 3 starters. I never thought that was feasible. Where in the hell are they going to get 3 starters from? From what market? What 3 starters were they going to get? Were they going to spend on Aaron Nola and Blake Snell or Sonny Gray and then trade for Dylan Cease? Was that what people thought was going to happen? I didn't. I was certain that they wouldn't spend that much money in the offseason on 3 players. So, therefore, it's not a surprise. But what was a surprise for you to say, Drew Rom, probably a swell guy. You like what he saw? He likes what he saw. Which part?
The 8.02
ERA? Is that? I didn't like it.
If you're scoring, even if they would have come through with our 8 runs a game,
you still lost by 0.02. What the hell are we doing? You would have had to. I don't understand, and maybe it's not for me to understand, but I can tell you that the level of frustration for Cardinals fans when 2024 arises and we are in the same position in terms of the starting pitching, when you don't go out and spend, it's going to cost you money. You're going to have to spend. There are multiple suitors. There are this notion that the St. Louis Cardinals are the only team in the major leagues that are trying to go get pitching in the offseason. Let me tell you something, fans. It ain't true. There are going to be multiple teams trying to get multiple pitchers that we are trying to get as well, which does what? Drives the number up. And so are the Cardinals. We know there are some teams that are willing to spend above and beyond. We've seen it. Doesn't mean they're going to win championships, but we've seen teams be willing to spend absurd amount of money for starting pitching. Will the Cardinals be that? They have not shown that they are willing to do that. They have not shown that yet. And so, therefore, I don't know that maybe 1, but damn sure it was never going to be 3.
Yeah. Well, you have to have success in this year's free agency. You have to go and be competitive. You can't just be in talks. And Derek Gould of the Post-Dispatch had an article that he just put out this past weekend where he talked about that the Cardinals are reportedly connected to Aaron Nola and Sonny Gray. And I was thinking about this earlier today. How they handle this offseason and the pitchers that they're able to attract and sign, I think will show how not only Major League Baseball views the Cardinals as an organization when it comes to market size and everything like that, but also how the Cardinals view themselves market size-wise.
Well, and we may have made a mistake in sending Aaron Nola to the zoo. Because now the Cardinals know that, right? And they think they get the hometown discount. And you guys want to be sad or mad, by the way, on this Tuesday morning? Speaking of hometown discounts.
Go ahead.
You want to be sad or mad? So it's a story that I think we've heard peripherally for a long time. But the way the Max Scherzer went down in 2014-15, so he's obviously represented by Boris. And according to people very close to Max, he got the offer from the Nationals, $210 million over 7 years. Reaches out to friend of the show, Wednesdays with Wayno, Adam Wainwright. Says, okay, I got this offer from the Nationals. I want to pitch in St. Louis. Call your guy. Tell him just be in the ballpark. They don't need to match. Just be in the ballpark of 7 and 210. And I'm a Cardinal. I want to be a Cardinal. I want to be in St. Louis. The call to Scherzer and or his representatives was never made. Didn't engage at all.
Why
and
would
Scherzer,
you not just engage in the conversation?
And Scherzer has hated the Cardinals ever since.
Yeah.
And has a beef with the Cardinal front office.
Is that where his kind of like rage, the crazy side of Max Scherzer
He
started?
was already there, but probably more against the Cardinals. Yeah.
So go.
Yeah. So that's for as rare as the hometown discount has become. It was there, and they didn't even engage. Now, I've always defended the Cardinals a little bit because of who they had, but the guy was a Cy Young Award winner by that point. The Cardinals pitching staff after 2014 was good. But if the guy's giving you the hometown discount, you got to, it seems to me, at least make the phone call. And apparently it never did. That's why he has always rejected the idea of coming to St. Louis again.
Well, and that's why I'm just interested to see, one, how these free agents view the Cardinals and their situation currently, if they do believe that they can turn it around as quickly as next season, because even though Mo walked back on the 3-pitcher comments, do you think that they still believe in that they will be able to turn this around as quickly as next season? How they approach this offseason will determine that, and how people view the Cardinals as market size when you're thinking about where they fit into the situation. And I mean, also how the Cardinals view themselves. You can't be just middling in the market.
And Brooke, Dave Duncan's not walking through that door. So you better get guys that know what they're doing, that don't need to be coached exceptionally well.
Yes.
Guys that can do it on their own.
Yes,
Because,
especially as you're trying to figure out this new pitching philosophy, too.
Yeah. Can we find a pitcher that you say, okay, Casey Blake, you get the credit for this guy. Dusty
Casey
Blake, Dusty Blake, whatever.
I don't know if you've gotten his name right. You've got his sometimes.
You know what they say?
Colonel Blake.
Here's the thing. They say you don't get to get your name called right until you do something worth remembering. So you gotta be memorable in order for people to call you by your right name.
Zach Thompson said, he said, I got better because I started paying attention to what Clayton Kershaw was doing, right? He said that. Matthew Liberatore would go down and throw 97 in the minors and then come up and throw 93, 94 here and get knocked around. I'm trying to find, Genesis Cabrera goes and lights it up for Toronto. Chris Stratton goes and lights it up for Texas. Jordan Montgomery's basically the same guy. He does what he does.
Jordan Hicks.
Jordan Hicks, same guy in Toronto that he was here.
He did improve this season. So
he got back to what he was. I'll give him. Let's give him Jordan Hicks. Okay, who's getting better under Mr. Blake?
I got one.
Okay,
who's Joe Romero?
There you go.
He got better. He got his first win, first save of the year ever. Jojo Romero.
Yep, credit where credit is due.
There you go. That's the one.
Congratulations, Don. Good job. Coming up.
Don?
You done messed up, Balake.
Oh.
Coming up, John Kelly, the TV voice of the Blues on 101 ESPN. I am a fan of Metro Transit. I've used Metro many times going down to ball games. When I work downtown, I use Metrolink a lot. And it really is easy if you just want to go to a game in downtown St. Louis, whether it's soccer or hockey or next season baseball. All you need to do is stop off at the Clayton and Richmond Heights station. They've got plenty of parking, and take the Metrolink downtown. And you don't just have to use it for sports. There's so many ways that you can use Metro Transit and the Metrolink. If you want to just take a tour of the city, well, you can. If you're concerned about the environment, riding Metro reduces that carbon footprint that you have and helps improve air quality too. If you want to support your community, riding Metro supports local businesses and helps reduce traffic congestion. It really does change the way we live. Whether we use it or not, we need great public transportation in our region and our community. And Metro is a great resource for so many people in the area. Don't let preconceived notions hold you back. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits of Metro for yourself. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive. 9 days away from opening their regular season in Dallas. And with Brooke Grimsley and Kerry Davis, I'm Randy Carricker. We welcome to the conversation the TV voice of the Blues, John Kelly, on this Taco Tuesday morning. Good morning, JK. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing well. It's always fun to watch the preseason for a hockey team because you really don't know, especially with as many young players. And last night was more the regular lineup, but we're watching the evolution of a franchise that is getting ready for October 12th.
Well, exactly. And last night's game was a typical preseason game, Randy. You know, they had roughly half their team in the lineup, and obviously traveled day of the game and had a really bad first period. Unfortunately, anytime they made a mistake, it was a big mistake, and the puck ended up in the back of their net, and they fell behind 4-0 early in the second and fought back and, you know, almost tied the game late in the third period. So there were some good things, though. I thought, you know, Krug's first game was very positive. He looked confident and moving the puck and skating well. Perunovic, I thought, had a really good game. And, you know, when he skates, Randy, and guys, he's really an effective player. He moves his feet, and he's got great puck handling skills. And obviously, Rocc got a couple of goals, and especially the second goal on the power play was just a wicked one-timer. If he can shoot the puck from the dangerous areas like that, he's going to score some goals. So there were some positives despite the loss last night.
Well, JK, you just talk about Torrey Krug there, and I know that Justin Falk and Krug both finished -3 on the night. And it's just preseason, but I think the biggest thing was just seeing Torrey Krug's progression. What have you thought about him so far? And I know it was his preseason debut after dealing with this injury.
Well, I'll be honest, Brooke, I haven't really seen much of him. He was in the practice the other day for the first time, and so we haven't had a good look. But I think the biggest thing is that, you know, he says he feels good, and his leg or ankle, whatever it is fine. So, you know, the Blues have a couple of more games to go before the regular season. We'll see if he plays in both of those games or one of the games. But I thought he moved well, and you know, the plus-minus stat is very deceptive. You know, you can be on the ice and have nothing to do with a goal, or you can have a direct impact on a goal. But, you know, it's not like he was terrible in his own zone and, you know, gave the puck away on all 3 goals. I just think big picture, it was good to see him out there and moving the puck. And, you know, on the power play in particular, I thought he looked very confident, and that's great.
JK, I asked Kerber this yesterday, and I'm going to ask you, do you have any concern about the number of shots on goal that the Blues are giving up right now?
You know, again, Kerry, I would not read too much into preseason games. Quite honestly, you know, Craig Berube has mentioned this a couple of times. It's more of the lack of shots at the other end. And this was sort of a trend last season. The Blues were a bit reluctant to shoot the puck. And I've seen some signs of that early. But again, you have to put an asterisk on it because you're basically playing every game with half your lineup. But obviously, you know, shots are a direct correlation to goals usually and scoring chances. So I'd like to see the Blues put more pucks on net, and especially when the defensemen have the puck back at the blue line and, you know, walking the line and things like that. You know, get pucks through and get them on net. Sometimes the Blues are a bit reluctant to shoot the puck.
John, we've talked a lot about the size of this squad and also about the intensity of practices. Are there any comparisons to be made between this and the big, heavy Blues that were obviously the Cup champs and then the team the year after? From a size and intensity standpoint, are you seeing any comparisons?
Well, you know, I'd have to do a deep dive, Randy, into the numbers. You know, are they as big a team? I don't think so. Certainly not on defense when, you know, you had the likes of Bouwmeester and Joel Edmondson and guys like that. And Pietrangelo was a big guy. So they're not as big. Up front, though, you know, they've added Kevin Hayes and Oscar Sundqvist. And, you know, McEachran's not a little guy either. So, you know, I don't know statistically how close they are. But I have liked the tenacity they've played with this year in the preseason and the fight. And, you know, I think they lost some of that fight and their certain, you know, not will to compete, but, you know, they needed to compete harder at times. And I've liked the scraps and the fights. And, you know, last night they fought back when they were down 4-0, as I said. So I don't think you have to run over people or necessarily even fight, but you got to compete every night. And I think that's what the coaching staff is really looking for.
Verona had 3 points, 2 goals, and an assist last night for the Blues. What do you think the ceiling is for him this season?
You know, Brooke, there's no question he could score 25 goals. If he could stay healthy and, you know, play in the top 9 every night, get some power play time, with his shot and his speed, there's no reason he can't light the lamp at least 25 times. But I think the key for him, like most players, is he's got to get to the inside. And that's where most goals are scored, even though he did score a couple of goals on the perimeter last night with a shot. But, you know, he's going to have to rely on getting to the inside and, you know, getting tip-in goals and rebounds and things like that. So I think if he can do that, coupled with the fact that he's got great speed and a great shot, there's no question he can get at least 25.
JK, how well is Kevin Hayes meshing with his line right now?
Well, you know, again, it's hard. They've mixed and matched, and he was with Blais and Verona last night, and, you know, he's played fine to me. And, again, it's hard to analyze players when they come into a team and, you know, they're not necessarily playing every game, obviously, and they're in and out. And these preseason games, I think, are just tough to analyze. But I think Kevin Hayes has been fine and sort of as advertised. He had 18 goals last year at the Flyers. He's a big body. Killing penalties last night on the power play, things like that. So I think he's been good so far.
JK, always good to have you with us. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Enjoy your beautiful October day.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Have a good day.
You too. That is John Kelly, TV voice of the Blues here in St. Louis, and he joins us every Tuesday here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got the fight. Matthew, you got a fighter already?
No, we don't.
We need a fighter. Text in. The text line is open. The Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. 314-399-YO-HO. Text in your name and the word fight. Maybe you'll fight me next on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's Randy, and let's talk real estate for a minute. If you need a reliable, experienced, and trusted agent, take it from me and get to know Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Here's why you should call. Because Gloria already has buyers. Gloria is able to guarantee the sale of your home in writing because she already has buyers for your home. Thousands of ready buyers with over 20 years of buyers in an exclusive database looking to buy in your neighborhood and in your price range. That's how Gloria nets you the most money and creates the highest demand. Many times with multiple offers, which means more money in your pocket. Gloria sells for more and sells faster when compared to your average agent. She's not your average agent. Gloria is St. Louis local real estate authority with 20 years of experience, hundreds of homes sold in just the past 12 months alone, and the only agent I would trust to sell my home. Get in touch with Gloria if you're considering selling your home. Her number 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or you can find her on the web at gloriahasthebuyers.com. If you want to sell your home, get in touch with Gloria Liu at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues last night in preseason action fall to the Blue Jackets 5-3. It was 4-0 early in the second, but they made it a little bit more respectable with 2 goals from Jacob Vrana. Also in Monday Night Football, the Seahawks over the Giants 24-3. Devin Witherspoon with a show-out game for the rookie. He had 2 interceptions, including 1 for a score. And in action tonight here on 101 ESPN, it's the Phillies facing off against the Marlins. Game 1 pregame starts at 6:30. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of morning drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Live. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Jason. Jason, how you doing?
Doing great.
Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
I guess ready to be.
All right, here we go. Luis Ariz became the first player since 1914-15 to lead two different leagues in hits in consecutive seasons. Which team did Ariz lead the AL in hits last season? Was it the Astros, the Twins, or the Guardians?
That would be the Twins.
All right. With 93, who finished as the 2023 Cardinals RBI leader? Was it Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, or Nolan Gorman?
Nolan Gorman.
10 players have won multiple MVPs in NFL history. Who was the only one to go 7 seasons between their wins? Is it Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Johnny Unitas?
Peyton Manning.
On this day in 2021, Tom Brady became the all-time leading passer in NFL history. Who did he pass? Was it Brett Favre, Dan Marino, or Drew Brees?
Brett Favre.
Jason, I like that round. That was quick and to the point. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're going to check the scores. We're going to bring in Randy Carricker.
All right, Jason, how does it feel?
He needs to throw a marker at
Not
you.
as easy on the radio.
Not as easy on the radio? It's much easier sitting in the car when there's no pressure on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, you know, when you're there by yourself, you have nothing to win. But when you're on here, you have an opportunity to beat down Randy Carricker, and we all love a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I do. Rocc roots for Randy every day.
What?
Am I wrong?
I root for my own anxiety, I think is how I put it.
So you root for Randy.
Yeah, it just happens to coalesce at those crossroads there at some point.
I root for me.
Randy, say hello to Jason.
Jason, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning. Great to have you with us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
All right.
Thank you.
Randy, you ready?
Ready.
Luis Ariz became the first player since 1914-15 to lead the league to lead two different leagues in hits in consecutive seasons. Which team did Ariz lead the AL in hits last season?
He got traded from the Minnesota Twins to the Marlins for Pablo Lopez. Minnesota Twins would have been his team last year.
Brooke, is that what are you doing? You just throwing stuff. That's the second time, though. It would be one thing if it was the first time.
It's not staying on the Sharpie.
Who did you attack this time, Brooke?
The ground. Brad Thompson's cut out behind me. I didn't mean to. The top won't stay on. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, so question number 2. With 93, who finished as the 2023 Cardinals RBI leader?
I believe that would have been Nolan Arenado. Didn't get to 30 and 100, though. We thought he would, but then he got hurt. You know what happened to him? Bad back.
When did that happen?
About a week back.
Oh, no.
May?
March.
Is it May, March, April?
April.
Yeah, had a few.
10 players have won multiple MVPs in NFL history. Who was the only one to go 7 seasons between their wins?
7 seasons between MVPs. 10. I think I know, but I'm going to use the lifeline here, big boy.
Is it Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Johnny Unitas?
Okay. I was thinking maybe Aaron Rodgers, but no, it's not him. So I will go with... I will go with Tom Brady.
Final question. On this day in 2021, Tom Brady became the all-time leading passer in NFL history. Who did he pass?
Leading passer in what category?
Passing yards.
Yards. I believe he passed one Drew Brees, if I'm not mistaken.
When somebody says all-time leading rusher, all-time leading receiver, all-time leading passer, is yards not the assumption? Am I doing that wrong?
Yeah, but there's just multiple categories that could try to confuse me here.
Okay, that's fair. I just when I hear Emmitt Smith, all-time leading rusher, he's yards is tagged on in my head. So I'm like, I don't want to be confused.
But I think people do. I think people do look at touchdown passes, though.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. But that was just yards. We do have a winner in today's fight. Yesterday was a tricky one. Randy made me change it on the fly, and it benefited him. Let the controversy reign. In this fight, no questions were changed. And did Randy was there any able to come away with a fight anyhow? No answers were changed either.
I don't know.
That's where things get a little wonky.
That was a bad day.
This was a good day. Was there a winner in today's fight? Was it Jason or was it Randy? Ring that bell. I argue this too, Randy.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
You used one of the options, but you did get the jack. Anyhow, it was a 4-1 win for Randy Carricker in the fight. Jason, thank you so much for playing. Thank you so much for joining the show. But unfortunately, Megamind just a little bit too much today.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks for joining us. Luis Ariz became the first player since 1914-15 to lead different leagues in hitting in consecutive season. It was, in fact, the Twins that he did it with last year. With 93, who finished the season the Cardinals' RBI leader. And it was, in fact, Nolan Arenado with 93. He also was the home run leader just above Nolan Gorman. Or, sorry, Gorman had one more than him. Excuse me, other way around. 10 players have won multiple MVPs in NFL history. The only one to go 7 seasons between wins is, in fact, Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers went 6. On this day in 2021, Tom Brady became the all-time leading passer in NFL history. He passed Drew Brees just over 80,000 yards. He would then go on to tack another 9,000 yards on top of it. So that leads a little bit safe for a while for Tom Brady. So a 4-1 win for Randy Carricker in the fight today.
Do you know who was the 1914-15 leader in both leagues?
It was not the National and the American League were not sorry. One of the leagues is not, yeah.
No.
It wasn't.
No. It was Benny Koff.
Oh, Benny, yeah.
You remember Benny?
Yeah.
Or Benny Loff. Yeah.
Oh, that's just...
Who are we going with? Benny Koff or Benny?
Benny Koff. Yeah, you know the Federal League. You're a historian of the Federal League, right?
Yeah, I am. And I know him well because of that play in left field, that cough drop.
Get out of here. No. Oh, my God.
Oh, my.
That was terrible.
All right, you heard what Mo had to say, and we'll tell you again. Backing off of the 3 new starting pitchers claim that the Cardinals made right around the trade deadline in August, and now... well, when I said that, I thought we only had one starting pitcher. We're going to play that for you, but we want to hear what you think of the Cardinals and the way they're informing you and what your thought process is. Do you think the Cardinals need 3 starters, or has Zach Thompson convinced you? You can leave us a mic drop with the mic drop feature with the 101 ESPN app, or you can send us a text on the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! You okay with Michaelis? Are you bullish on Matt and Thompson and then getting two new guys? Or would you rather rebuild this starting rotation? You're next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I want you to feel your best, and the best way to do that, if you're beyond the age of 30, is to have energy, and you can get energy by going to Mentality. They're at lowtusa.com, and you can find out what they do and what they're all about. But I can give you a general idea. When you pass the age of 30, your testosterone level decreases, and when your testosterone level decreases, so does your overall energy level, your physical stamina, your ability to get through a day. And sometimes when you do have that drop-off in energy, you become kind of cranky. You get a little bit anxious and you bother people more than you used to. Well, Mentality can solve those problems. They're going to find out where your testosterone level is, and then they've got an FDA-approved testosterone supplemental treatment that will restore your testosterone level back to where it was in your 20s. And now your primary doctor might say, okay, we've got you in the normal level of testosterone. Well, it's a pretty wide level. And at Mentality, they're going to get you to the highest level of normal. Learn what they do at lowtusa.com. Pretty much everything covered by insurance. They'll work with your insurance company, and you can be the person that you want to be. You can have the energy that you used to have by going to Mentality.
Well, I think when I said 3, it was at a time where we were really down to one starter at that point. And I will say, we are still bullish on Matz. We think, like, from a physical standpoint, he'll be in a good spot next year. I think really Thompson has stepped up, but we know we're going to need some big innings, some quality innings. And at the very least, we also know we're going to have to add some depth there because we're going to need some protection. Certainly pleased with what we saw out of Rom. But, what will his role be next year? Hard to say. And so lots of questions that we can be asking ourselves right now, but that'll help build the GPS for this offseason.
That is John Mozeliak on Sunday. Before the game, he was with Jimmy the Cat Hayes on Bally Sports, kind of backing off a comment that he made on August 14th, in which he said that the Cardinals were going to be aggressive in acquiring 3 starting pitchers during the offseason. Now, everybody's allowed to change their mind, but my opinion as a baseball observer, I didn't see enough during the last month and a half of the season, the last half of August and September, to make me believe that he should back off the comments of 3 starting pitchers.
I didn't. I mean, Randy, you know how I felt. I never felt that he was going to actually be 3 starters. If it was, it wasn't going to be. That's when you hear certain things, I think your brain automatically goes to what you want it to be. And so 3 starters in most Cardinal fans' minds meant Aaron Nola, Blake Snell, Sonny Gray, somewhere along those lines, which was never going to happen because that's a lot of money going out of the good old pocketbook if you were to spend that amount of money. They need 3 starters, though. However you find them, whether it's one ace via free agency, a 2A or 1A, 1B in via trade, and then maybe a guy that you just trust as your 3rd or 4th starter. They have an issue right now where you got Miles Michaelis, you got Steven Matz, and he says they like what Zach Thompson did. They like what Drew Rom did, but where is he going to be? That's 4 guys, but you'll be in the same position that you were in this year. You need a number 1 and a number 2, and I don't know that Miles Michaelis right now is a number 2. Maybe he could get that back, but I don't know that he is.
I think he's a 3.
Yeah.
I think around there. But I think adding to that point, too, they are going to have to be still aggressive. I don't think that if you had too many.
Aggressive.
Yes.
AGGRESSIVE, aggressive.
Were you a cheerleader, Randy?
I listened to him.
Oh,
Clearly.
okay. You paid attention to the cheerleaders. Surprising. No. I think that they still need to be aggressive, because I'm just going to hold on to the fact of, I think that what he said in the middle of the season is true, that if you still had question marks middle of the season, you said that no matter what happened in the second half, that you're still going to be aggressive this offseason, then you still need to do that, because there's too many question marks. Steven Matz, did he look better right before the injury? Yes, but how healthy will he be able to be? Because we have seen that history with him. And then Miles Michaelis, what are you going to get from Miles Michaelis next season? You hope in general, because it was a down year for the entire pitching staff, essentially, especially the starting rotation specifically, you would hope that maybe this will be a bounce back year for him. It's just, there's too many question marks. And I think Zach Thompson has looked good. I just saw him more as kind of a depth role, because injuries, of course, are likely to happen, and you need to be prepared for that. And you weren't exactly the season for that. So I think Zach Thompson is a great option and possibility as you're getting down into the season for a depth piece. But I just don't know if I feel secure about that rotation that we're looking at right now.
And I hear we're bullish on Matz. And I hearken back to last year at the winter warm-up when Mo said, I feel better about Jack Flaherty than I ever have.
No.
I'm not going to count on a guy who, as a Cardinal, has given me no reason to believe that he can stay healthy for 6 months. I like Steven Matz. I like him as a guy. I like him as a pitcher. But that doesn't mean that I'm confident that he's going to be able to stay healthy. And by the way, we're talking about this on the heels of the August 14th quote. And here's what Mo said. Realistically, we know we have to add 3 starters this offseason. We know we have to add depth. We went into this season thinking we would have to have that covered. It didn't work out that way. I think having a repeat of that would not be in the best interest of the franchise. So I think our approach is going to be very aggressive on the pitching side.
Good job, Mo.
It needs to be aggressive. That's the point. They need to be aggressive on the pitching side, because also, if you remember, just looking at some of the Mozeliak quotes from this entire season, remember winter warm-up when he was asked about, how they approached the pitching market. I think they got some sticker shock, but he talked about at first that they weren't exactly involved, and then they were involved, and that was kind of confusing. But then the guys they were possibly involved with, I'm assuming that Quintana was one of those pitchers. There's injuries, so hindsight's 2020 with that one. But remember, he said when the season was about to begin, it could be a strategic mistake when they were going with 6 starters and not getting another possible starting pitcher. It was a strategic mistake. You can't make another strategic mistake with what you're doing in this offseason. So if you need to go and get 3 starting pitchers because you already were able to evaluate that at the midway point of the season, then I would assume that's still to be true now.
Right. Texts at the text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! The first one, the most important, from the 573. I didn't realize Randy could do imitations. That's a fantastic imitation of Mo. No, that was Mo.
Yeah, he just called in very quickly.
Another text, it's all Mo's fault. Another one from the 618, we'll be in the same situation next year. When you're an organization and you have a fan base that feels that way, that we'll be in the same situation next year, that's kind of troubling.
Can I do something here?
Yeah.
Give you some names. Okay, so let's assume Miles Michaelis, Zach Thompson, and Steven Matz are 3 of your 5 stars.
Okay.
Let's just do that. Okay. You still can go out and get an ace via free agency, and you can trade for an ace, a 1A, 1B type of deal, or 1 and a 2, whatever makes you comfortable. That we're okay with that so far?
Yeah.
Are you okay with Dakota Hudson, JoJo Romero, Drew Rom, Tink Hintz, Liberatore being parts of your bullpen?
Parts.
Not the whole. You still got to fill in some. And so if you got, or I give you 7 names and you can pick 4 or 5 out of there and then go get maybe 4 or 5 more veteran players.
I'm cool with that, especially if I can have those names be a Memphis shuttle.
And flexibility.
Yeah. Yes.
That's one of the issues that they had last year, not having the flexibility. So you got Liberatore, McGreevy, Hintz, Graceffo, Rom, Hudson. JoJo Romero, I think, has solidified his role, whatever that may be, in this bullpen for 2024. But those other guys.
It sounds like Roby might be kind of in the mix, too. Takoa Roby, right?
Put him on the list as well.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of guys that you can rotate in. Some guys get injured. Some guys need to go down and retool and fix some things. You can do that, but then get 3 or 4 veteran guys that have been in the league established.
Huge thing.
In that spot. So you just solved the issue, but you have to make sure that it is a priority in 2024, in this offseason.
And the other thing you have to do, and again, I don't know what the guy does, but when I see Chris Stratton go elsewhere and pitch well, when I see Genesis Cabrera go elsewhere and pitch well, I want for those young pitchers and those guys I'm trying to resurrect, I want somebody that I feel confident in being able to resurrect them.
Yes, 100%. That's the biggest thing, is that you need to know that if you have young pitchers coming in, you have to continue to develop them, because you need to solve the bullpen issues too, and also figure out the future of this organization, or have options available. And I've seen some people text in, there's nothing aggressive about John Mozeliak. This has been such a terrible season. You have to do something different than what you have done in the past. This is a huge chance for the Cardinals to do that.
Now, I would disagree vehemently with the idea that Mo isn't aggressive. He aggressively was able to go out and move players this year. The Reds didn't. There's a lot of teams that don't have the ability to sell. They were aggressive in getting Arenado. They've been aggressive in getting Contreras, as you mentioned. They were aggressive in getting Goldie. They were aggressive in getting Ozuna. They made more. The Cardinals have made more big trades over the last half dozen years than any other team in baseball. So aggressiveness isn't the issue. It's smart spending that's the issue.
Yes, and you have seen that in the history with the free agent signings. And when you look back at this possible Wilson Contreras situation, if they move him into the left field, what does that look like when you're looking at and evaluating how free agency signings have gone?
Yeah, could be rugged.
Yeah.
From a free agency signing standpoint, no. If he's playing left field for you, it's not great, as Mo has said previously. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we're going to talk to City's head coach, Bradley Carnell. His side is in Vancouver tomorrow night, and we're going to talk to him about clinching the top seed in the West and about what they do heading down the stretch here on 101 ESPN.
breaking down City SC on the opening drive in our weekly segment we like to call Controlled Chaos.
Brought to you by Keystone Event Staffing. Better people mean better events.
Yeah, it's not just me. I saw Tim angry too. Joachim disappointed too, because we worked really hard for clean sheet is like something special for the whole defensive line, and for me too, obviously. And I think this if you have this mentality that it bothers you, even though we are 4 goals up, that when we are not concentrated or focused enough to keep that clean sheet, because to be honest, it was unnecessary to concede that.
Good to have you with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker, and we head to the celebrity line now. And St. Louis City SC's head coach, Bradley Carnell, joins us. The head coach of the Western Conference MLS champion, St. Louis City SC. Coach, good to have you with us. Congratulations.
Good morning, everybody. I mean, listen, the Western, it's the number 1 seed, right? So we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. I mean, it's a nice thing to have achieved the first spot in the West. To be the champions, we have to win the playoffs. You know, we have to go advance through the next 3 rounds or whatever it is in the playoffs and make that ours. You know, we feel pretty good with it. And again, it's just sentiment to all the hard work of the people around here. But, baby steps, and we've come a long way. But, to be crowned champions, there's no silverware with just clinching the West. So that's the only thing. There's a big debate going on in the office here, Randy.
Well, I always defer to the head coach, and I know that you've got, as they say, bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's just something that... we've kind of dreamed about, but turned the dreams into reality pretty quickly. You know, from what seems as though is like a 3 to 5 year plan has somehow been fast-tracked. But if you see the work and the dedication and the hours put in here, it's almost understandable that this team is where it is at the moment.
Well, Coach, I know that you said that you guys are just looking ahead right now, but was there a little bit of moment of celebration or, at least some cheering amongst the team? Because I know you guys didn't find out until Sunday, depending on what happened with LAFC, but was there just a little bit of celebration?
It's been kind of weird. Obviously, there's group text and some messages going on and what have you. And those text messages felt like a New Year's Eve party, because there was just so many messages coming from all over the league and all over the world, and it was pretty amazing. But as a group, it was quite strange. It was very peculiar. When we qualified for playoffs, we had to wait 2 hours or 3 hours after our second to last game, I think it was, when we played here at home. And then we qualified for playoffs, but we were just sitting in the office with some of the staff. And then when we won the West, it was also when we were all at home on an off day, So we haven't really, as a group, been able to connect. And we kind of just got back in the office this week, and we know Vancouver is just around the corner. So it was pretty much business as usual. So, and that stood us really, really well as a group now, not really having moments to celebrate too much. So hopefully, as a group, we'll get to do that postseason.
Well, you heard at the top of the segment there, Roman Berkey, who has a league best 114 saves along with 8 clean sheets, surely makes him, I would assume, a shoe-in for MLS Goalkeeper of the Year. But what do you think about MLS MVP, Coach?
Yeah, I said it a couple of weeks ago that he definitely has an argument for that. I think it was Tony Meola that was the only one to ever achieve that status of MVP. I think Roman's well within his rights, and us as a group to fully support and substantiate that MVP case, because what he's done single-handedly, and just typically the style of play. And listen, I see good goalkeepers all over the league, and you could see one on the weekend against Sporting KC with Tim Melia. It should have been 2-0 for us at halftime. And then Roman has 2 big saves in the flow of second half. So, there are good goalkeepers in the league, but, Roman definitely does stand out. He plays both sides of the ball. He's very good at defending the goal, and he's very good at orchestrating the attack. So, he brings a whole multitude of skill sets to his game, and he's proven that. Goalkeeper of the Year is for me, a foregone conclusion.
Coach, you all play tomorrow in Vancouver, but don't have another game until the 21st of October. What is the plan for that stretch where you all will be off?
Kerry, so we're going to take this game very seriously. We're able to turn guys around and hopefully, we'll put out a very competitive squad. And then we travel back on Thursday. we'll give the boys a 3-4 day break. I think some at this point of the season, there's a couple of knocks and bruises just to iron out before we go to that Seattle leg. We will try and play a scrimmage, an inter-squad or what have you, against one of our maybe City 2 or one of the academy teams, just to keep our momentum going. That'll be on the 14th, I believe. So, we'll do a definite game planning of a weekend on the 14th, and then we'll come back and be ready for that Seattle game and the prep to that. So we're going to keep ourselves occupied, but we're going to find a balance of freshness and readiness, as well as, just the daily grind.
Now that you have the number 1 seed clinched, how do you feel about where your team is heading into the playoffs? And obviously there's a few weeks, but is your team, has it peaked yet, or do you think there's still room to grow?
Yeah, I've seen a real positive outlook since the Orlando away stretch. We knew we had a really difficult stretch at that time where we had only 2 home games, Randy, and then 4 away games mixed in there as well, and 3 on the road back to back to back. So that was a really tough stretch. And, we just thinking about some of those games. I mean, Houston, what a performance from the boys. LA Galaxy away, we tied 2-2, but what a performance from the boys. And, we go away to Minnesota. What a performance yet again. So we've kept games tight. Roman's job, even though, we haven't given up as much XG, expected goals against us, in this last stretch as we have in the first sort of segments of the season. So I feel we've become a tighter unit. I feel, obviously the introduction of Joachim Nielsen, getting healthy and getting fit and getting ready, I thought it's helped our case and it's helped the structure and stability of our group, and also the leadership on the field. But, I've been really comfortable, without talking too much or thinking we're peaking at the wrong time. I think we're getting there slowly. With 2 games to go, I'm really feeling that, bar any injuries and knock on wood, I think we're in a good spot.
We talked about how the warm weather here in St. Louis during the course of the summer would benefit your squad, and I believe it did. What about once you get to postseason? You've been there with New York. Is it difficult for a warm weather team to come to a city like St. Louis in November where it's cooler and have to deal with the elements, or does it make any difference?
It's interesting you mentioned that. Normally, all the pundits and everybody had always said, can they do it in a warm weather climate? Can we continue the press during the summer months? And is it sustainable? So, a pressing team needs cooler temperatures. A pressing team needs, optimal conditions to be relentless. And, credit to the group. They found ways to do it over the summer months. We've been strategic in how we implement the press. So I would only argue we get better as it gets cooler.
Coach, you all, in sports, the thing that thrives and really drives sports is rivalries. You all have begun a rivalry with Sporting KC. What does that mean to you? Are you starting to feel that rivalry from the cross-state rivals?
It's getting there. It's growing on me, because to try and organically just plant something and say from one day to the next, these are your rivals, good luck, and go and enjoy. I think there has to be a little bit of, I just think of Sam Adeniran's tackle, in this last game against Jake Davis. Like those type of things and the way the players react. And, we play on the borderline of aggressive but fair. And actually, if we give away too many fouls, we break our press. So I know we're the number 1 fouling team in the league, but also we're the most successful tackles in the league. So, we have to give something to gain something. But yeah, for the most part, I can see this rivalry growing across state lines, and just to see how, and I would say after the second game, how many fans we had in their stadium, that for me was really impressive. And I was like, wow. And then you see how they didn't really return the favor. They really respected us coming to our stadium, and there was only a small bunch of SKT fans. So for us, we totally dominated that series on and off the field.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that with Sporting KC. I mean, Kansas this past weekend. I mean, the fan support, we've been talking about with you all season about this, but it just really seemed like the atmosphere is growing more and more with the fans at City Park, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we were really impressed against Charlotte on our match day 2. And we thought, no, we couldn't get any better than that. I think you've just seen match day 32. Trump match day 2. So, we've just got stronger as a group on and off the field, fans, culture, soccer capital. I don't know what you want to call it. We're just doing our bit on and off the field, which is amazing.
You are amazing on and off the field. The organization's done a magnificent job, and there's more to come. Coach, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it. Take care.
See you later. Bradley Carnell, head coach of St. Louis City SC, joining us on the opening drive. The Western Conference #1 seed. Yeah, maybe I was going a little bit Nashville Predators there with Western Conference champions.
A lot of people have been just saying, Western Conference champions. And I'm like, I think we really got to be saying regular season Western Conference champions.
Do you put that Western Conference in bold and then the #1 seed kind of in like the smaller letters underneath?
Exactly.
I think we have the green light to call it the soccer field as opposed to the pitch.
He also said 2-0.
Yeah,
2-0.
So we have a little leeway here.
It's kind of like Yakub. I want it to be a cube, so I want to say pitch. I want to say boots. I want to say nil. I want to say clean sheets. All that stuff.
To Brooks' point, I don't think it's crazy that the MLS at different times has told people, hey, don't try to Europe and don't try to use the Euro words. Try to make it more American so that people feel like they can be more conversational. Like I have a feeling that the league is told certain people, do me a favor, don't call it a field, say 0 because they don't want it to be too Euro.
We're football aficionados here, so we'll call it what it is.
I mean, it's Major League Soccer.
It's football.
It's Major League Soccer.
Played on the pitch in their kits.
They play soccer
with their boots
our
on.
Side is #1 going into the playoffs.
Thank you.
There you go.
Side.
So
I like saying side, though.
There you go.
I do too. And are we going to all of a sudden start saying that there's a schedule?
It's a table.
No,
A
it's
schedule?
It's fixtures.
It's a fixture, and the table is
standings.
set.
No, it's a table.
Yeah, the table is set.
We're just picking and choosing here. Then
It's almost like it's arbitrary.
So it kind of seems like it. Thanks to Bradley Carnell and St. Louis City SC. Coming up, we've got our rush hour reset. You don't want to be a Giants fan today on 101 ESPN. Hey, folks, if you're driving around in the region and you see a new-looking fence with a sign that says Chesterfield Fence and Deck, there's a couple of things. Number one, you know that fence is great, built with care, built with pride, and built with great materials by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's also the sign that the person that got that fence has the very best, because at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, it is the sign. You have the very best. Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around in St. Louis for 55 years. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They have a fantastic history. As a matter of fact, they will provide you a 5-year labor warranty and multiple warranties on all the materials that they use. So if you need a fence, maybe you want to keep your dogs in the backyard. If you need a deck, if you need your deck upgraded or replaced, maybe you want to turn that deck into a sunroom or a screen room, well, you can do it with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Call them at 800-300-4054, 800-300-4054, or find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. I have a Chesterfield fence, and I couldn't be happier, and I hope you'll use them too. And by the way, mention Randy and get 20% off your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
So, first of all, 9:17. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, officially licensed Rolex.
I just knew you were going to...
Brooke and Carrie are trying to Google
you can't say it.
A brick outhouse because somebody is built like one. So they're Googling, okay, so like what? Because Matthew had used the term, not a brick outhouse, but the other term that we can't say on here. So these two are Googling that.
I just knew you were going to... Is it this or is it that? Get your polls in. Get your texts in.
Is there a way to put that out there where we don't say? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So, tough night for the New York Football Giants last night. They just are not very good up front on the offensive line. You just take the football
out of that.
Yeah.
You just call them the New York Giants. Don't call them the football Giants. So that's not football they were playing.
Yeah, it was bad.
So, are you saying that Daniel Jones is built like a brick outhouse?
He better be.
Yeah. He's going to be sacked 11 times. He better be tough.
Holy cow. That's they just, number one, they gave all that money to Daniel Jones.
They didn't have a choice.
No, they didn't. But, and they do need to. They need to fix the offensive line. He was good last year when he had a decent offensive line
and a decent running game.
That helps to have Saquon Barkley too.
Yeah.
The Blues lost last night at Columbus by a score of 5-3. A couple of preseason games left for your St. Louis Blues. And the next one is against the Dallas Stars on the 5th, a couple of days from now on Thursday. Blues and Stars pregame at 6 here on 101 ESPN. We have playoff baseball for you both today and tomorrow.
Go Cards. Go Cards.
No, sorry.
Go Cards.
I know it's playoff time. It feels
October.
Weird, but no cards. We no Red October this year.
Yeah.
Well, there is a Red October, just not here.
Yeah, the Phillies are doing the Red October. I texted this. Do you guys feel weird about the Phillies doing Red October? Because my first thought was always the Cardinals.
They're like a burgundy. They're not really red.
Yeah, they think they're red.
Yeah.
The Reds are red.
Yeah. Now, they claim in Philly that they've been doing it since at least 2011. And they were
but haven't the Cardinals been doing it
since like the turn of the century?
That's what I was thinking. And so when I saw they had the shirts that say Red October, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not for you.
No,
that's not for you Philly fans. Yeah.
Maybe they took it from us last year.
They probably did. They took a lot from us last year.
They won it. That was also part of it when they won. And they said, well, we're going to take that one from you.
I'm a purist. That's only for the Wolverines.
No.
No.
Womp, womp.
So today you've got 4 games, and it's going to be fun. And we've got one tonight for you, Phillies and Marlins, and that's at 6:30. But tonight, you've got Jordan Montgomery starting for the Rangers today in their game against the Rays and Tyler Glasnow. That game starts at 2 o'clock, and it's on ABC, and you'll have the opportunity to see Jordan Montgomery pitch to Randy Arozarena. You've got the Blue Jays with the back end of their bullpen featuring Genesis Cabrera and Jordan Hicks. They've got Kevin Gossman going against Pablo Lopez. That game is at 3:30 on ESPN. Then the game that we'll have later on, Marlins and Phillies, Luzardo against Zach Wheeler, and that one's at 7 o'clock on ESPN and here. And then the Diamondbacks will pitch he pitched against the Cardinals. Brandon Pfaadt. It's Pfaadt. Brandon. He should just be Brandon Pfaadt, shouldn't he?
Pfaadt.
Against Corbin Burns. So you've got Corbin Burns pitching against Tommy Pham. Marlins game, you've got, let's see, you'll have Edmundo Sosa on the bench. You've got Skip Schumacher managing the Marlins. So a host of former Cardinals involved in the playoffs.
Something to keep you intrigued.
If you want to follow that,
do you like that type of thing?
Yeah.
You see your former players have success other places. Yeah, if you're into that.
Yeah, a little bit. If you're just into that type of pain. I am, though, very happy for Skip and what he's been able to do with the Marlins. I mean, just reading about everything that he has done over there, obviously you're seeing it. He's a shoo-in for National League Manager of the Year.
Yeah.
But there's been so many stories, and they've talked about it, about how he has just changed the culture of the Marlins organization. And it's painful to me, at least. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but just to see so many, we talk about former Cardinals and all these teams that they're involved in, kind of taking the Cardinals' way in a sense and taking it elsewhere, especially when you're looking at Skip, the way that he's able to implement things with the Marlins, make it work, who he is as a leader. I just think that was a huge loss for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and a little speculation out there that if Bob Melvin moves from the Padres to the Giants, that Mike Schultz might take over the San Diego Padres.
Whoa. That'll be something.
Be nice.
Yeah. How about that?
How about that?
I don't know if it's a good rumor that's out there. I don't know if that's anything that it has a real chance, but it's a fun rumor to have out there.
Do you like that rumor more, or that Sonny Gray could possibly be a Cardinal rumor?
Give me Mike Schultz in San Diego every day and twice on Sunday.
You need a starting pitcher, Randy. 2 of them, 3 of them, possibly.
Okay.
You don't want a guy that has a 2.95 ERA in postseason. What's his ERA this season?
Yeah.
Is it still pretty good?
I think he had like a 1.54 in his last 7 starts or something like that.
He's a stud.
That's much better than the
36 strikeouts in 41 innings over his final 7 starts.
If you're into wasting,
2.79, 2.79.
If you're into wasting money, that's cool.
Well, where else are you going to spend it?
I would sooner take the unknown. I'd sooner try to get the Japanese guys.
Really? Yamamoto?
Yeah.
Bring Yamamoto in, but would they be willing to spend probably $200 million, which is the estimates for him?
There's another. Who's the other Japanese guy?
Was it?
Come on, Brooke.
Toshi or Yoshi? I know. I should be on this. I am our Japanese correspondent over here.
Yeah. She's got a Japanese jersey from the.
I do.
WBC.
The Lars Newbar one, Team Japan one. Yeah. I should know. I cannot remember what his name was.
Don't worry about it.
If you can't remember his name, you're probably not a guy you need to be going after.
He's good. It's just that I don't think that I think Yamamoto, if you're going to spend that kind of money.
Better than Aaron Nola or Blake Snell. You don't want either one of those guys. Well, you don't have to worry about Blake Snell going 9 innings. We don't do that here.
We don't.
He's okay.
No, you're right.
7 and done. 6 and give me 6, big fella.
Hey, Blake Snell is. Would I prefer to have somebody that gave me more innings? Yes, but
I know who you really want.
Who's that?
Dylan Cease.
Yeah, Dylan Cease would be the guy.
That's your number 1.
Yeah.
That's your number 1 on your wish list.
Let's start at the top.
Oh, Shota. Isn't that what it is? Yeah. Imanaga? Yes. Let's
start with this. None of this is going to work out unless either Billy Blake turns into...
Billy Blake.
Isn't that their pitching coach?
Keep changing his name.
Dusty.
Dusty Blake. Okay, good.
He's Dusty Balake.
Balake, so yes.
I need,
like that.
and maybe he is the guy, and maybe he was just holding stuff back this year. But I need somebody who makes my pitchers better. I need to start with that.
Analytics doesn't do that?
Not all the time. I mean, it's nice to have the machines and the spin rate and all of that stuff, but
the iPads.
Yeah, it's a good thing to have. It is. It's nice to have, but then you have to have players execute those things. And we talked a lot about the Cardinals giving up runs in the first inning, which to me goes a lot back to game planning and preparing the pitcher for the opposition and maximizing the pitcher's abilities against the opposition. So I just think the Cardinals probably should be discussing that first before spending a bunch of money.
They have put a lot of, I guess, blame or part of the problem on Wilson Contreras and on the the pitching coach or the pitching staff. At the end of the day, I am responsible for what leaves my hand, where it's located, how fast it goes, whether it's left over the middle of the plate or not. If I don't like a pitch, I can tell them no. At the end of the day, the onus is on the pitcher. So, you got to find pitchers that are confident, have conviction with the throws that they throw out there, and not look for other people to say, hey, you made me do it. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
You did it. And so be better at what you're doing. And so that's why, for me, pitching coach aside, catcher aside, give me guys that are confident in their job and what they do day to day and say, hey, I'm going to throw this pitch. You might not like it, but I know this is what I need to throw. Because if I throw something and I don't have conviction in it, I'm going to be watching.
But here's the thing. The Steelers players can have all the conviction they want in what they're running, right? But
I don't know that they have conviction in what they're running.
But because of why?
Because the play that's being called.
Exactly.
But the quarterback has the ability to audible at the line of scrimmage if he were to choose to do so.
And if you're going to have a bunch of young pitchers,
you got to have smart. You got to have smart quarterbacks,
Yeah.
smart pitchers to be able to say, "Hey, no, that's not the best thing for right now."
And it is on, the players executing, which we have seen them not be able to do this past season. But I just keep thinking about that interview that we played last week with Michael Rocc and how he specifically pointed to the Rays and their ability to really turn things around pitching-wise, which is what they were able to do with him. He talked about how Kyle Snyder, that there was a pitching philosophy, but it was tailored to each specific pitcher. And I think that's something that just really stuck out to me on something that the Cardinals need to do. You can have a pitching philosophy, and they're going to change that supposedly moving forward, but also making sure that it's tailored to each individual pitcher.
Because every person is different.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Yeah. Kind of how that works.
That's a good game plan.
I think so.
And just...
I mean, you don't have the same game plan that you would. Was it Nick Foles and Mike Vick when they were on the team?
Right.
It was a little bit of different game plan. If Nick Foles is in, you probably aren't going to be running as many bootlegs and rollouts as you did with Vick. And it's a left-handed quarterback versus right. It's just you got to be better.
I don't know if Robert Blake is the answer, but I just know that they need to be better next year.
This way, are you doing this so you can avoid if he ever said something to you? Be like, well, I didn't say your name. I said Robert Blake. I said whoever that is.
He was an actor. I think he might have died. He was an actor in the show Beretta back in my day.
Oh, I remember that for sure.
Oh, you guys ever heard of the show MASH?
Yes, I remember MASH. I don't remember the characters.
Colonel Henry Blake.
Oh,
that's what. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You said the name, and I was like, why
Brandon.
does this?
Good job.
Sound familiar?
So good.
Thank you very much. Coming up, Mike Claiborne on 101 ESPN. Hey kids, fall is here, and those brisk mornings and hot afternoons in St. Louis are no joke. You need layers of clothing just to make it through this weather. Getting your home ready for fall is important. Part of that is getting your heating system maintenance. The heating and air conditioning equipment is the most expensive appliance in your home, and getting it maintained by Hoffman Brothers annually is very important to the longevity of the system, the operation of the system, and how energy efficient it remains. At Hoffman Brothers, they can come out and perform a heating maintenance, clean, and heating system check, and check all the burners, gas lines, and for carbon monoxide. Safety for you and for your family is the biggest priority at Hoffman Brothers. Call them today to schedule your heating system maintenance or join their home protection plan. Visit HoffmanBros.com. That's HOFFMANN, HoffmanBros.com, or give them a call at 314-664-3011. When the really cold weather hits, you don't want to be caught with a furnace that isn't up to par. Hoffman Brothers is an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer at Hoffman Bros, HOFFMANN, HoffmanBros.com.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I've really loved exploring my new home, and thanks to the Metro, it's so much easier to do. I've lived in many other cities that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it led to a lot of congested traffic and just really made it harder to get events like concerts and games, but that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to access for everyone, taking you right to Busch Stadium, City Park, Enterprise, and more, without all the hassle of parking, waiting in traffic, just trying to find an Uber, you know, those surge prices, how bad they are, just getting you straight to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try, it's something that I can promise you other places wish they had available. There's many benefits, even if you don't ride. A healthy and vibrant public transportation system helps attract businesses that create a significant amount of jobs in the region. And of course, it helps many get to their jobs. So give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues last night in preseason action fall to the Blue Jackets 5-3. They were down 4-0 early, but then Jacob Vrana scored 2 to make it just a little bit closer. Justin Falk and Torrey Krug on the day were -3, and they were also the only D-men to play more than 22 minutes on the ice. Also last night, Monday Night Football, Seahawks 24, Giants 3. Here on 101 ESPN, the baseball playoffs get underway. Phillies Marlins Game 1, 6:30 pregame right here again on 101 ESPN. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker, and we go to the celebrity line right now. And our friend, the great Mike Claiborne, joins us, of course, from Cardinal broadcast fame and of Claibs Online. Claibs, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well on the mend of recovery, but it's a slow process, but I'm feeling good today.
Good. That's what you got to remember, especially when you get to our age. Is it's a process and not an event. It used to be that we could heal fast, and now that we're at our age, it is really a process.
Well, your body reminds you how quickly you're going to heal. So you just listen and you go from there. So it's all good. I have no complaints.
Claibs, obviously, we'll dive into more about looking ahead to this offseason and next season. But first, I just want to ask you, what do you think about everything this weekend, saying goodbye to Adam Wainwright?
Well, it was something that we just normally don't see. I mean, obviously, with last year with Yachty and Wayno, we just haven't had these sort of iconic players come through the organization. And it was well scripted. I think Bob Ramsey said it best. If you want to have a wedding reception or anything like that, or you call the Cardinals. They seem like they have a good idea on how to plan these things. And it was well done. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the career that he had. And, you guys know him. He touches so many people. And, what a better way to go out. Obviously, I'm sure he'd like for the team to be better and his record to be better. But I don't think he has any reason to complain, because he had one guy who showed up that I think everybody thought in the back of their mind, and Yachty, would Yachty show up? Because, some would say they don't ever think Yachty was ever going to come back. Not that he had anything against the Cardinals. That's just who he is. But to have him there and everyone else there was a really capper of the weekend.
A really great moment for Wayno and for the Cardinals. Cardinals season not really that great. They need some pitching this offseason, Claibs. And so we've been listening to some cuts from Mo where, earlier in the season he said they were potentially going after 3 starters, now kind of backing off of that. What do you think the plan is for this 2024 season for next year?
Well, I think, Kerry, that it's an issue that, we knew about this time last year. You needed more pitching. But I think you have to start from the bullpen, because if you watch these postseason games now, the bullpen is going to come into play more than anything. And when you look at the Cardinal bullpen, you have to ask yourself the question, how comfortable are you with everyone? And I think you have to go line for line on each person. What do you like? What are you concerned about? What do you think is the reason why he shouldn't be here? Does he make you better? So you have to go through that and find 8 guys who can go out and get the job done on a regular night. And some roles are going to be different. Some guys are going to be closers. Some guys are going to be setups. Some guys are going to be bridge guys. Some guys are going to be spot starters, because the way pitching works today, seldom do you see an entire pitching staff of 13 complete the season as one. So you better find some people in your minor league operation that can come in and help you as well. So I would start there. As you notice, there isn't as much depth with regard to free agency acquisitions that's out there. I mean, the same names come out there: Nola, Snell, Sonny Gray. And the first thing you have to ask yourself the question is, well, why would they come here? Because everybody has money. Okay, so let's take the money off the table. Why would you have to come up with a reason on why you want to come here? And you would know this, Kerry, being a recruited athlete in college, they have to show you something because, as you noticed, Indiana had some things. Iowa had some of the same things. Ohio State had some of the same. So you had to come to a conclusion on why Illinois was for you.
Right.
So the Cardinals need to get into a recruiting mode and maybe even consult with someone with respect to recruiting because, again, everyone has money. So you have to sell them on other than the greatest baseball fans in America. You have to have something more to sell than that. And so that's one element. The other element is going to be if you're going to trade, what are you trading for? Are you trading short gap or are you trading for a guy that's got a couple of years on his contract and you think he can grow even more? The other element I would say is, do you have anybody in the farm system that's ready to take the next step? I know Tink Hint's had a pretty good year in Double-A. You have Graceffo, you have McGreevy, guys who are high draft choices that you expect to be able to contribute at some point next year. And then you have the international route. There's a couple of players over in the Far East that people are starting to kick the tires on. Can you get into that bidding war? So you have multiple ways of doing this, but I really feel like you don't have as many options as you think because the talent pool isn't what you think it should be.
Hey, Claims, I wanted to flip to Mizzou here for a second. 5-0, taking on LSU. It's sold out for Field this Saturday. Brady Cook, his last 11 games, 19 touchdowns, no interceptions, 63% completion percentage. How in are you on Brady Cook?
I think he's a really good player. I'm always cautious about numbers in college football. When we start talking about, he's the all-time guy in the SEC. But the problem with that is the SEC, you include all the games. You include the games against who knows State and,
Middle Tennessee State.
Exactly. And there's no slap against him because, he didn't make up the schedule. And, the same thing could have been said about Drew Lock. But you know what? Here's the thing I give him credit for that most won't. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and so far he hasn't made any. I know they talk about his toughness. I think anybody who plays quarterback in college football has to be tough, so I think that's a foregone conclusion. But I think what they've done is found some middle ground that he can adapt to and make him more than a game manager. I think he's at that level now where he can win some games for you. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing against better competition, and starts this weekend against LSU.
Claims, I'm sure you watched that game last night. The Giants are Randy was calling them the New York Football Giants. I told him take the football out. Just call them Giants.
Yeah, right. You know what? I didn't even take the Giants out because they didn't play big at all.
New York.
And I know last night Troy Aikman made a pretty good point. He said, it's not like they haven't invested in offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have a lot of guys in their offensive line are the top picks in their draft, and they're not getting it done. So is it offensive line coach? Is it coordinated scheme set? Is it the fact they missed on assessing how good these guys would be at the next level? But, yeah, I got to tell you something. The New York Giants are probably one of the leading embarrassments in the NFL. And, if it wasn't for the Jets defense, they'd be right there with them. The Jets defense plays really well. But, at some point you can't stay on the field all night.
Yeah. Claves, do you think that this is across all sports? Do you think that there has been a dip in development for players, specifically younger players, just across all sports?
Yes.
And why is that?
I think because the rush to get them to the next level is become, obsessive. You look at baseball. Everybody has stats on everybody now, okay? So, we're trying to figure – everybody's on the fast track. There's no development. There's no teaching, or not as much. You see it in football where even on your level, kids who may play JFL who come to you and you say to yourself, wait a minute, you guys don't even know the basics. So now I have to go from implementing a system to teaching you fundamentals. And we don't allow enough time for that. I remember when I was a kid – my mother was big on me learning how to swim at a very early age. I think I learned how to swim when I was 3 years old. So she threw me in the same class multiple times, so muscle memory came into play. And I look at sports now, we don't see that. You go through the drill twice, all right, you're ready for the next drill. I just don't think that works for every athlete. And, we talk about the practice time. What are we doing in practice now? I mean, practices are shorter. You're trying to be crisp and quick. There's very little contact. And I think it all catches up to you. And you pick the sport. And I think you'll find a coach to tell you whether they're really not ready, but this is all we have.
Claims, what's going on at Claims Online?
Well, later this week we will have a visit with Cedric the Entertainer. We cover a number of things with him. Also, we have Dr. Rick Lehman is back, and we have our sports medicine version with he and Bob Ramsey. Lunch with Claves and Joe, you can pick that up from yesterday. We had a chance to shoot that out. And we'll visit with Bob Nightingale and talk a little baseball as far as the playoff side is concerned. And Huddle Up with Howard comes your way on Thursday, and we'll get set for the Missouri-LSU game that comes your way on Saturday.
Looking forward to that. Glad you're feeling a little bit better, sir, and we will talk to you soon.
Looking forward to you guys. Have a great week.
Thanks, Mike. That is Mike Claiborne with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to head down the stretch with Rocc and Roll here on the opening drive.
Hey, it's Kerry, and if your deck is in bad shape, then let me tell you about my friends at STL Design and Build. They can help you. I've been in the same spot. My deck is 10 years old. It looks terrible. The good folks at St. Louis Design and Build have begun the process of helping me get a new deck at a fair price. Look, I knew my deck looked bad, but I really had no clue as to how bad it was. It wasn't even up to code. They've shown me the steps to get it in the right place, and I am thankful for it. The process starts tomorrow. I am thrilled and looking forward to it. St. Louis Design and Build is an award-winning company. They have taken home top workplace award as well as the best home improvement company, and they truly believe in helping people and being the best people that they can be. They want to treat you how they want to be treated. So they have been helping me through every step of the process. I have the Builder Trend app, which allows me to keep track of what's going on. My project coordinator Becky is helping me get through the process, showing me the ins and outs, and the deck process starts for me tomorrow. I'm looking forward. If you want to get a new beautiful deck, reach out to them today at stldesignandbuild.com.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
It is time for Rock and Roll here on 101 ESPN. Matthew Rocc, what do you got for us?
Well, last week, actually, at the end of the week, somebody asked why we don't do My Hills to Die On anymore. Oh. And I said because that's for an extra show. But luckily, somehow it worked out this way, that A Hill to Die On happened to perfectly converge with a story for rock and roll. And so I wanted to bring you guys to yesterday. FC Cincinnati's head coach by the name of Pat Noonan. You might have heard that name if you're around St. Louisan. Yeah. DeSmet graduate, played for the United States men's national team, is now the head coach for FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati over the weekend clinched the Supporters Shield. The Supporters Shield, I will remind you, is the trophy you win for finishing with the best record in the entire MLS regular season. Well, here's what Pat Noonan had to say yesterday when he was asked about the significance of winning the Supporters Shield. Quote, unquote, I think that has now surpassed the MLS Cup in terms of relevancy. That's not to take away the desire for our team to hold an MLS Cup trophy. Now, here's the thing. In any other country, Pat Noonan would be very much correct, because that's how most soccer leagues around the world award their champions. You win the regular season. There is no playoffs. You finish number one on the table. You walk home with the most important trophy in the league. But that's not how this sport works here. That's not how sports work here in America. You got to win the playoffs to be the best team that season, and that's how it works here. I understand that it's a soccer culture. I understand that it's different everywhere else. But most of those places also call their leagues football leagues. This is Major League Soccer. We do it here in America this way. And you got to win the playoffs to walk away with the most important trophy in your respective sport. I understand what he's saying. I get it's better to be good across an entire season than just for a quick run. But that's a fine piece of logic on any other piece of soil around this earth, except when you're in the United States of America. So I'm being the ugly American on this one. You win the MLS Cup. That's the real trophy.
The dude is from here?
He's from St. Louis.
You presume he's a Cardinal fan?
You presume so.
Does he think that the 2006 Cardinal season was a failure?
I don't think so.
They won 83 games in the regular season. Now, they did win the World Series. What was more important? I would argue that winning the World Series was more important.
I would argue that as well.
I agree. I think you win the last game in the playoffs. Anytime you do that, you are considered a champion, and that's what they put banners up for.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, maybe some people.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Put banners up for winning the division or the conference. That's
Regular
cool.
season.
It's nice.
Western Conference.
So then, why do you
regular
think
season.
just not in now? Then is my question.
That
If
would
that's
be-
what
that's a pretty
kind
good
of the
question,
point.
Brooke. That's
Is
a very
like
good question.
why wouldn't it just end now?
Why
okay,
have
so you
playoffs?
got
And
that.
also-
Then that's done, right?
Also-
There's no playoffs or
100%
anything.
The context here is, again, he just won the Supporters' Shield.
Yeah.
Like, it happened 2 days before he made these comments. So he comes out after winning and says, well, we're the Supporters' Shield winner, and I really think that's the trophy that matters.
Sounds like a guy that doesn't have much confidence in winning the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
sounds
month before you
exactly.
actually have to go out there and win 4 straight matches. Actually, technically, it's 5 straight matches because you got to win 2 out of 3 in the first round, and then you got to win round 2, conference finals, and the MLS Cup. So you got to win 5 more matches, and you only can slip up 1 time, and that's in the first round. It seems like he's a little bit nervous about that, coming out immediately and being like, hey, by
Sounds
the
like
way, this is the championship. Not to say the other thing's not a championship, but this is the championship.
That's what you tell your team.
Hey, why aren't those NHL players skating around the rink with that President's Trophy over their head?
Oh, I don't
Yeah, they
know.
don't
That's a
think
good
that matters.
question.
I got some very snarky responses on Twitter to that when people said, well, because soccer and hockey are different sports. And I was like, yeah, but this would be the outlier of American sports. You're saying that this is how you win in an American sport? Listen, I'm not saying they need to change how they do it in any other country. I'm not saying they need to change how they do the Premier League or any other country. But in America, you win playoffs to win championships. Is that so hard? What's so hard to grasp here?
Pat Noonan should just shut her down now, right?
If you already,
That's what I'm
if you already
saying.
won it all.
Yeah. That's it. You have nothing else to fight for.
Good job.
Is what I
Congratulations.
take out of that.
Let's be better.
And also another point other people are throwing out there, and they're very good. Some people are saying, well, it's better to be good for the entire season than it is to be good for a run.
it's not.
My thing here,
It's better to win a championship.
Even if that's true, every other league in the world that gives out those championships for a league, for just the table, almost all of them have it broken down as you play every other team in the league twice, and there's no balanced schedule. The city did not play every team in the East, and Cincinnati did not play every team in the West. So therefore, you can't even use the argument and say, well, it's a soccer league, so this is how you do it. No. In the NHL, you play every other team. In the NFL, you don't get a chance to, but Major League Baseball, you now play every other team. I think that is the best way to do it, and then you get to the playoffs.
I'll say this for Pat Noonan. He's going to love the Sonny Gray signing. It's all about the regular season.
Oh,
Playoffs don't matter.
Yeah, and so, we got a texter here that said, so when's Cincinnati holding their parade? They're not holding their parade. You're 100% right. Also, another point here. Soccer, one of the big things, we've talked about this before. I don't know if you guys know this, but teams put a star above the crest on their jersey, the national
Captains?
teams. No, when you win a title.
Oh.
But here's the thing. The star that goes above your crest in MLS, it goes above your crest when you win the MLS Cup. It does not go above your crest when you win the Supporters' Shield. So the MLS even says, this is the one that matters. I respect Pat Noonan, again, even though he is a DeSmet guy. But I respect him a lot.
That's really
But
what
come
this
on,
stems
guy.
from, isn't
It
it?
really doesn't at all. I have the amount of rivalry I care about high schools is 0%. But it's a shot, so I might as well take it.
Whoa.
I'm okay with being
blown away by that one.
I said the whole season. We said pitch. I said boots.
I'm still going with
I
pitch
said
and boots.
kit.
Yes.
I will not break on the Euro part of this one. This is America. You win playoffs to win championships in America. I'll be the ugly American on this one. I'll let everything else go by. I'm not letting this one go by. The Supporter Shield is not the big championship in the MLS, just like it hasn't been in any other major American sport.
Well said.
done.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're proud of you.
Stick by
Proud of
that.
you.
Damn right.
That's a hill. I mean, you know
You're
what?
a true
I'm
American.
with you on that hill.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Not really
I
a hill
don't
you die on by yourself.
know.
God, I've been up here so lonely so many times.
Now, anyways, about dogs.
No,
Remember what
not doing
we
this
said?
one.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't.
No.
What do we do about dogs?
What was it that he said? What was it that you said, Rocc?
What did he say?
About? I don't know what you're talking
That
Did you say dogs were overrated or something like that?
Yeah,
Dogs can't be a
essentially.
part of
That's
your
not
family.
what I said. It's not what I said. Dogs are wonderful. I love
heard he
dogs.
kicks puppies.
You
I
should
don't
get
know.
dogs if you want. You should never kick a puppy.
Never.
Never.
Unless it's attacking you and you have no other way of getting away from it.
Yeah.
Carrie added that caveat,
Fair.
not me.
And,
All right.
if you're about to get bit by a dog and it ain't your dog and the owner is nowhere around, you got to do what you got to do.
Great job by our producer and audio engineer today, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Good, he hates dogs.
I love dogs.
How about that?
How about that? I love dogs.
Stevie Nicks. There's a Stevie Nicks Barbie
Yes, there is. I'm so excited. I need to get one. Yeah.
for your dog.
Yeah. Well, she'll tear it up, so probably not for her. I'll
Okay.
put it in a safe space.
Okay, good. CD.
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. We've got a balloon party with T-Mac and Ajax coming up, followed by BK and Ferrario, and then the Fast Lane. And then tonight, we've got playoff baseball, Phils and Marlins pregame at 6:30. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Taco Tuesday, St. Louis. I want you to get to Fenton Bar and Grill today for lunch and try their Tuesday special. It is absolutely delicious comfort food. It's an open-faced turkey sandwich on Texas toast with fresh tomatoes and bacon and cheese sauce and a side of tots, which are absolutely delicious, all for just $14.95 at Fenton Bar and Grill. Their specials every day are fantastic, whether it's their trashed tenders tomorrow